The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com.
Our guest left. He's gone. He saw the setup, so we set up. Our guest saw it, and he's like, "Nope."
He's out of here.
He's out. He left. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. You seem really far away from me.
I know. I do. You seem really far away from me. Because like I said before, like you would sit here, I would sit there, and the guest would sit there. Yeah. But I felt like it was like, because, you know.
No, I know. It
makes more sense with the guest in the middle.
It does. It does.
It does.
But we need to chop this table up. We're going to get a different table.
We're going to get a different table. Our guest is coming now. This is the grand entrance. I like it. Look at this.
And like I said, I was trying to get to your show because I wanted to pick up. So my thought was, I'm going to go to here. I'm going to pick up 2 of those paper bags. I'm going to put some liquid death in them. Boom, and that was what I was going to have in my blazer.
And you were just going to roll up.
Yeah.
Just like, what's up?
All right.
So we're here.
You're on.
Are we recording?
We're ready. We're going.
We're live.
We're hot.
First things first.
Oh, no.
We get gifts?
Dude, we get gifts? Dude, that's sick.
Official. So
that is so cool.
C10 Club bottle opener with a little built-in
that's
bottle
sick.
opener there. Yeah.
That's sick.
I will say that the C10 merch stuff
is on point. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I wish I was involved with that.
You want to scoot in a little bit? There you go. Okay.
Let me not feel shy with this guy.
Well, hold on. Well, first of all, welcome to this week's episode, The Drop with Frank and Brian. Frank, Brian, and our guest today,
The Drop?
Mr. C10, John Oro. And we're very excited about this episode.
Yeah.
Because we're bridging gaps here. We're bridging
truck gaps.
We're bridging truck gaps.
Yeah.
You know, this is we're not necessarily a mini truck podcast, but we are mini truckers. So that's what we talk about. Talk a lot about mini trucks. But we're here today to sit down with John or no one really calls you John. It's Oro. Everybody calls you Oro.
There's too many Johns.
There's too many Johns.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I might go back to Juan.
Oh.
But then,
there's a lot of Juans too.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're sitting with Oro, and we're going to find out all about him and introduce him to that. We're bridging the gap, introducing him to the other side.
Yeah, because there's I would say our probably people that listen to this. I don't like using our listeners.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
It's not really weird.
I don't know.
The listeners?
The listeners?
Yeah. I just like the people that listen.
They
are listeners.
The people who listen.
It's probably 80% probably mini truck guys.
I would say so.
Yeah. But, I mean, I've been doing a lot of
2% mini truck girls.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of C10 stuff for a while now. So it's
you sort of started that bridging of the gap between the two because, like, you sort of, being in Arizona, the C10 scene is pretty big out there. So you sort of like
just kind of fell into it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you get you got the biggest show that's out there. You got guys, like Ronnie that's out there, and a lot of history. Switch, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Arizona is probably like the hotbed.
Yeah,
in the smallest area.
In the smallest area, the most condensed. Because I think here, obviously, all the history with back to the mini truck stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just car stuff in general.
Yeah.
It always started here. But hot C10 stuff, I think, just the hotbed. So let's start with who you are. Mm-hmm. So this is where you get to talk and tell us, like you're just talking to us, like who you are. Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get into trucks in general?
Okay, John Oro. Grew up in Long Beach here, LBC on the west side of Long Beach. Started with the Lolos for me. You know what I'm saying? I think growing up in this community, growing up in Long Beach, we were always attracted to rides. I think I don't know. I mean, I wasn't in sports. I'm not a big guy, so cars were my thing. I started with some Lolos, did a 48, I think it was my first thing that I did, 54, 65 rag that, back in the day we would trade off a bunch of stuff. And that was one of the cars that landed in my lap. But yeah, so I grew up here, Long Beach.
Was your dad into vehicles?
Yeah, my dad was a little bit, and I think that's kind of what I grew up watching him work on some of the stuff. He had like a Galaxy 500. Oh, so he's a Ford guy.
Yeah.
And I'm the black sheep of the family. So
those Thanksgivings must be interesting.
Yeah,
you got Ford guys and Chevy guys.
Yeah, you know what? And for us, obviously the Chevy, I think we were geared because that's what everybody fixed up, the Impalas. You know what I'm saying? Everybody fixed up. So, but I learned a little bit of working on cars because obviously he had a Ford, so we'd always be working on it.
Like I said, those Thanksgivings must be interesting.
Yeah, no, he's so that's where I got introduced to the cars, and after that, it always kind of stuck to me. I mean, growing up with the guys, you either into hardcore gang banging, you're a little bit into getting into trouble, and I think what saved some of us is we work on cars. We'd stay busy with that, and you know what I'm saying, kept you away from the real hardcore stuff of it.
Yeah.
And for us, that's what attracted the girls. That's what did it, and
I mean because that's high school, early 20s.
A lot of car stuff. That is like the basis of it. Is you're just trying to drive a cool car to get chicks. Right?
Yeah. I think so. And had for me, it was like, okay, I've got a lot. I mean, I'm not 5'11". I'm not a jock. You know what I'm saying? So you got to do something, buddy.
Yeah.
So I either got the gift of gab and a ride, and
I think that's like a lot of car guys where you have the jocks, and jocks kind of do the jock thing. They have the jock look, and then car guys don't. So we're big, short, wide, whatever. We look weird, and the cars helped us get over that. What we lacked.
That's what I'm saying. It gave you that was sort of like the confidence. Like your car was the confidence part.
Yeah, because you could roll up to the parking lot, roll up to the cruise, roll up to in the car, and they said, I think so. But if you just walked up in there, they'd be like,
yeah. I wasn't made for the clubs. I'm not gonna pull somebody out of the club, whatever. Yeah, no matter what dance moves I did, you're not gonna be able to see. Hey, I'm over here. Yeah, so for sure, I think that's like everyone says, a lot. It's an extension of your personality and. So those were my initial first rides. Had a kid really young. Ended up with 2 boys. Oh, cool. Met my wife, 9th grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So we've been together.
I met my wife in high school too.
Yeah. So we're gonna celebrate our 40th anniversary.
That's awesome.
In 2 years. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just say that because she brought something up, and I was like, that's 40. So, anyways, but that happens to us. It worked out great for me, not so much for her, but hey, mama. But I got lucky. I got a good one, and from the Lolos, let me go back to that. From the Lolos, had kids real young, so kind of I don't want to say I just kind of stepped back for a little bit. Needed a reliable car. I think one of the ones that actually was pretty reliable for me. And still cruising the streets was 87. We have to look at this picture. 87, 88 Honda Accord. Oh, that's cool. First guy, at least for my guys, put it on 13-inch reverse Daytons.
Yeah.
Oh, we just had a conversation about that.
We just had a conversation about. Yeah, go ahead.
About those type of cars like the Hondas on wire wheels and stuff. And my question was because you remember Euro Lowrider, right? Euro Lowrider magazine. This burning question I have is like, how did they come up with Euro lowriders when most of them were Japanese cars, like
Euro
Toyotas
kits
and Hondas?
So they put what was called a Euro kit, and that kind of put it in that. And I remember one time going to a lowrider super show because we would go to those shows as well. I had, everyone had different cars, and on that particular one, I remember one guy being upset because there was like a Euro, I want to say Maxima. Remember? So they fixed them up.
The Sentras were big.
The Maxima won, and they won the Euro, and the guy had brought a Ferrari, and he was like, "Well, how could I lose? This is a real Euro."
But So you're saying that the body kits, did they come from Europe, or they're just
no, they were just Euro kits. They were just ground.
That's
effects.
what they just called them.
That's
Euro
Euro
kits.
That's.
So where did that name come from? Like, I don't know. It's just it bothers me. Like, what? I'm like the Ferrari guy. I'm like, Hey, wait, hold on.
Right? How could I lose? Yeah. It's like an El Camino winning a truck show. We want to bring that down?
No, it's
Okay,
fine.
what's good?
No, they won't be able to hear. For no one knows, we're like in a warehouse right now.
We are in an undisclosed location. In
No,
Long Beach
I'm
somewhere.
going to disclose it. So this is where the Prom Queen resides normally, and we are at rebuilt headquarters here. So my buddy Mason, you guys will all know Mason, Right Way Builders, actually now rebuilt. Yeah, so he good dude. We met many years ago, hit it off. And he had a little spot here at his shop at his warehouse where he keeps it. And,
So we're in Signal Hill,
yeah, Signal Hill, California.
just north of.
Just north of Long
Let's
Beach.
not give too much away, man. I parked this thing here.
Oh,
Hey, you
I
said
said,
you did.
I said,
So, yeah,
I
we're
said
Signal Hill. It's all
undisclosed.
good.
So.
You said you were disclosing.
No, look him up. He's a good dude.
Okay.
Good dude.
But so you brought up Prom Queen. I mean, we're kind of going to jump all over the
I
place.
think we're going to jump all over the place, but I think
And it's up to you guys to steer the ship. Because
Yeah.
I am, anybody will tell you talk to Ori, he's like a jackrabbit. Boom, boom,
Hey,
boom,
that's
boom,
fine.
boom.
Yeah, that's
So-
totally cool.
we'll start with. We already started with, like where you grew up, cars and things like that. What do I have here? Oh yeah, it's your first vehicles and stuff. When was your introduction to the C10 truck?
So I had a buddy of mine growing up, you know what I'm saying? And we would fix up, he was actually doing all my sounds on my car. Met up in middle school, became really tight friends. And he bought a 4-wheel drive Blazer. And I thought that was neat because you could take off the roof. You know what I'm saying? I said, it's like a convertible, it's like a truck and whatever. And at that point, actually, I hadn't even seen a 2-wheel drive Blazer. It wasn't until I went to a lowrider super show at the LA Convention Center, and I saw a square body, but it was a full top, so it was a 73 to 75, and that was on 1510 Dayton's. It was lowered, and I thought that was like, that is super, because it's, to me,
It's
the
like
Blazer,
the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I call it a triple threat. It's especially like if you get into 67, 72, if you change that front grille for me, it's, it could be a hot rod. It's definitely a truck.
Yeah.
It's a convertible. So
Yeah, because it's got the big burly motor,
yeah,
and it's the truck aspect of it being the frame,
yeah.
and yeah,
And then full top.
Yeah.
And again, going back to my lowrider days, I had a 65 rag that I horse traded that actually belonged to Warren G at one time.
Oh,
really?
cool.
Back of the hood, he had "Life's a Bitch" on it, and didn't know it was his beginning. Hey, shout out Warren G.
He watches.
He's definitely watching.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
watching
I'll tag him in this. Maybe he'll say something. He'll remember the story. He actually, back in the day, we rode dirty, which means we'd horse trade so many cars that we would never register them. And he pulled up in my driveway once, back in the hood, and he pulled in a nice Impala, cleaned up, and he's like, "Hey man, is this your ride? My 65 rag?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's, "Man, you need to register this. I keep getting tickets and whatever." He was a little upset.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, but he's in the wrong hood. I'm like, "Yeah, man, like in the wrong place to be asking for stuff." So he wasn't too happy, took off or whatever. And then later on, I ran into him at the mall, and yeah, we just shook hands, like, "Hey, what's up?" He knew.
Yeah.
But
That's
and
a
I
cool
probably a year, 2 years later, I traded that for something else. But that was what told me that rags are it, man. There's nothing like a full top. There's nothing like having that thing back. You can have hydraulics.
So
you can
that's
have
where the
this, you have
convertible
downs.
comes from.
But that's where, for me, the convertible is what said there's nothing like it. Because I'd driven lows, I'd driven bombs, I'd driven, minis. But that 65 rag, the attention on that one is like,
Yeah. And that like you kind of carried that over to Prom Queen.
Exactly, and that's why.
Because you
That's-
drive that thing everywhere.
I do.
No top, all the time,
Yeah.
through anything. So now I can see the pattern and see where it comes from.
Yeah, that's when I knew that I could not go. I don't want to say back, but if it had to be something, it has to be a full top for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And once I found that one that I seen, that 2-wheel drive, I said, "Damn, it's so nice," And it took me a while to get mine, but I finally found that one. So
So what year? When did you find the one you have now? Is that the
Okay.
one that you got back then?
that is my second one.
Okay.
So that the first one that I bought, I bought and redid it up. I found out, I think in the recycler back in the day, a guy had a 396 motor, and it was actually, that one was an old, like a border patrol. So it was a converted,
really?
yeah, an old border
cool.
patrol. So on that one it was a 69, so it had a different front end, and it was a 4-wheel drive converted to 2-wheel drive, and we had that painted, and basically same color. And once I finished it up, I took it to a couple local shows. Probably a couple of lights from Long Beach Vet Stadium, which is.
Yeah,
like
I was going to
a
ask
swap
you
meet.
about that, like being a Long Beach guy and coming from Long Beach. So you spent a lot of time at the Long Beach swap meet and like doing all that kind of stuff.
Not until I got later. I wasn't a guy that went around in shops for that. It's still not really my thing. You know what I'm saying? I love to cruise. So, you know,
So you're
I'm
more-
on for
you're-
that, and that's why when I listen to your guys' pod, I know how old you guys. I think I know how old you guys, but Leg Lake, Whittier Boulevard, Rosemead, hey. That's my jam. That was
That's
kind of
cool.
that was my thing for those days in that era. So when I see you guys talk about or hear you guys talk about it, it's like, yeah, man, those were the days. And luckily now things have changed to where it's, back in the day you had to be super kind of careful of where you drove around. You know what I'm saying? You can find yourself in a bad corner and run into that whole little local area. Now you've got guys that put in their time, doing their thing. Now they've got a $150,000 lowrider bomb. They're going around with their kids, their grandkids. You got guys in their 50s that have spent some time. They've done 15 years, and
Wow.
come on, they're not playing, dude. Nobody's gonna. Your little group of 5 guys are not gonna rank these guys down. These hardcore guys, but they got their stuff together, and nobody's playing that stuff no more. You know what I'm saying? That's that era is past.
It's changed.
It's changed.
So
now it's
the
super
era
cool to
you're
cruise
talking
it.
about is like kind of 90s-ish. Like
100%, yeah.
I listened to because I was very young in the 90s. Like I'm 41, so
Okay.
in the 90s I was like 12-ish years old in the early 90s. But from what I listened to a lot of different old heads and podcasts and stuff like that, like the gang culture was so like engulfed like LA and the surrounding areas. So that's what you're talking about. Those times were just kind of like the block was hot kind
so
of thing.
if you went to Whittier Boulevard, especially if you were in a low, so but yeah, you had to be careful. You had you're usually riding with 3 other guys. Try to keep it like 4 deep max. You don't want to be 5 guys in a low. So try to still keep it cool. But yeah, you had to be careful because at every corner, you had the group of guys that were from that neighborhood. And you never know. It's super easy to throw, beer bottles at you and whatever. And if you're going to get out, it's going to be just, and for the most part, you're worried about your ride. Some guys are worried more about their pride. So
And now-
stuff can go out. And now that stuff, though, it's super kind of family oriented, and
so just kind of like the dudes chilled out kind of.
I 100%.
Older, they
Yeah.
just kind of respect. There's more of a respect.
Yeah, no, because they
thing.
don't play, man. They've got, like I said, they've got $150,000 plus lowrider. They're driving around with their,
Yeah, they don't
with their
wanna-
grandkids. No, they're not here
they
to
don't want
play.
no
They're here
heat
to
or
show
nothing.
off. They're here to have a good time. Here to bring it back. And I think we see that in the lowrider culture. They're bringing that stuff back. I'm sure you guys have seen that they're working on stuff that, cruising is not a crime stuff. Some guys have actually got into that.
Yeah. Well, didn't they just like kind of get rid of the whole like cruising like
On
prohibition
some,
and stuff
I guess
like
it's
that?
going by area, city by city. But I know they started
San
hardcore
Diego.
up north, San Diego,
Yep.
Barrio Logan, stuff like that. So, yeah, super cool. And to be honest, I mean, there's a lot of people you would never know or lowrider guys. A lot of cops, a lot of firemen.
Yeah.
They love
Yeah.
that. They grew up with that, seeing that, and
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's-
happening in our scene too. Like a lot of
yeah.
the dudes are like, later on and they get careers and stuff. A lot of cops and
Well, when we
Yeah.
were younger, the cops would mess with us because they didn't do what we did when they were young.
Right.
right.
So they didn't understand it. They were
Right.
just giving us a hard time. Tickets all the time, like,
Right. Oh yeah.
just too low. Da da da. But now, since people that are even younger than us, they grew up with it. So they don't.
They're exposed
they
to it.
don't necessarily mess with you for that stuff.
Yeah,
anymore.
Right.
yeah, they're not. And you know what? I think with the way things are nowadays, if you're a police officer, you want to go up. You're trying to make a career out of it. Are you really going to risk it to pull somebody over for something dumb that could be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've seen
Right.
it 100 times now with social media. Guy pulls over and he's pulling over the district attorney and like.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
I see those
So
videos.
like you don't
Yeah,
never
I
know
see
what you
those
get,
videos.
and
You
that's
don't wanna,
one thing.
You don't want to mess with the well, because you just don't want to mess with the wrong person because there's cameras everywhere. and you don't want your temper to get the best of you,
Yeah,
and then you mess that up. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Except the tint tickets, they still give you the stupid tint tickets.
Yeah, they still mess you on those. I
Even
don't know.
in their EZ.
Oh yeah, Milan just got one, and he has a script for it in the cup.
Yeah, he's
like
got
the-
prescriptions for a couple of different things.
Shout out to Milan.
Absolutely. My boy Mike.
He's here in town too.
Is that right?
He's at the Dodger
Didn't
game
check
right now.
in. I'll put a green light on your ass. Right on.
Yeah, he's at the Dodger game. So, out of all of that, how did you get into that now, the C10 stuff? Because I mean, that's like where most people know you from. Is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
C10.
So
Like,
I put my time in with that. You know, I had my fun, and then my buddy that exposed me to the Blazer, I tried to buy one at once. He went with me, and you know, great dude, all my best friend, but he wouldn't let me buy. He's like, no, this has got rust in the corner. You know, back then it was too much, but if I would have bought it, it probably would have been at the wrong time. So
yeah.
So
they were a little cheaper
anyways,
back then too.
so let me jump back to the first Blazer that I bought. Painted it up, went to a show, Vet Stadium, and I had a kid come up to me and, hey, how much you want for it? And when I mean a kid, he was mid-20s, late 20s. And I'm like, it's not for sale. It's the first time I've brought it out. I just came out to show it. And like I said, I could throw a rock to Vet Stadium from my house. So he's like, well, you know, everybody's got their number. I'm like, no, you know, not really. So he threw out a number, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then he's like, well, I don't have the cash. Dude, you're making a deal. You don't have the money? Like, you know, so I told him, hey, listen, because by then it was a group hanging around like, oh, he's going to sell it, what have you. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm gonna teach you something. Don't ever make a deal with someone unless you've got the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I've got a house. It's an escrow and this and that. I said, dude, don't matter. So in that crowd, there was a guy that just kind of stood back and kind of watched the whole thing go by. And at the next show down here, he said, hey, man, how much for the Blazer? And I said, I'll give you the same deal. He goes, boom.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And I was like, I said, dude, I had a feeling you were going to. So, because he had asked me a bunch of questions about it at that time.
And what year was that Blazer again?
That was a 69 Blazer that was converted.
Okay.
It
That was
converted
the
two-wheel
Border Patrol
drive.
truck.
That was the old Border, and had it
Okay.
painted. Maybe I'll send you some pictures if you want that. So,
yeah.
So with that one, he picked that one up, and then I sold it, and right away I regretted it. In fact, I went home, I drove it home. He gave me the cash there, and because I knew him from the hood, I said, hey, man, just pay me when I get you. I got to get the pink stuff. I don't have it all. He goes, no, you can keep it. He trusted me. Oh, is that the Prom Queen back there?
Yeah.
So he said, no, you can. He didn't, he wanted that Blazer. So I went home, could not find the pink slip. And I called him up and I said, hey, man, I can't find it. I'm still looking. He's not backing out on it, are you? I said, no. In fact, I had to renew my license like that same week. I said, if I got an appointment, I'll come in. So I went, registered the truck in his name, put it off legally, and he actually gave me an extra $100 for saving him the whole time, man. Dude, I had to wait, yeah. So that was the Blazer, and from then I wanted to do it. Like, if I ever do one of these again, I regret it instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do one from the ground up, and I wanted to do it. And back then we had the Auto Trader, the Recycler, Craig's. I don't think it was. Yeah, it was.
Wait, around what year was this? I'm sorry if you said already.
That one I want to say is it 2000. The second was 2003, right around there, if I remember.
Okay.
So
quite a long time ago.
yeah, it was that was the first one. I don't think I even named that one, but so I was watching this guy. Even when I had mine, I was watching it, and he had it for 17 grand. And then he had it for 15 grand, and then 14 grand. And then I want to say he did it either 12 or something, but this is probably from maybe 9 months.
You're watching on the paper, right?
Yeah, I'm watching the paper.
Yeah,
Every time it come out Thursday, like,
Oh, and I see what you're saying. The Auto
every
Trader,
Thursday,
yeah.
you're out there rushing to 7-Eleven to pick this one up. So I called him up, and said, hey, man, and it's actually, a really cool guy, just recently saw me at a show and came by and showed me pictures of when he got it. And I have them with me, but I'll give those to you as well. But he had it there. He had moved out of the city. And the story that I remember, he went to Tehachapi. And he had restored another C10 that sold to Japan. He had put it in the cover of a magazine. And what this guy did as a hobby is restored Coca-Cola machines and Pepsi machines at his house.
Yeah.
So he had a whole booth. He had a big old shower curtain set up, and he had worked on this Blazer for a while. It was a 2-wheel drive, and he said, I called him up and I said, hey, would you take 10 grand? He goes, you know what? I can't. He says, you know, I've had guys up and that's, listen, I've got the 10 grand on me. If it is what it is, he emailed me some stuff. I'll give you the money. And he goes, listen, man, my kids moved out here. They all qualified for some kind of a motocross nationals, and each kid had to have 2 bikes. And I think they only had 4 between them. And he goes, so he goes, they're not really into restoring cars or trucks. They're passionate. And that was his way of buying those 2 spare bikes. He was the mechanic for them. So every time they competed nationally, he would be the mechanic on them.
Yeah.
But in order for them to go on the circuit, they had to have a spare bike. They didn't want to promote them and then their one bike, take a crap and not do it. Mm-hmm. So this was a way he was going to fund that. And so I told him, I'll give you 10 grand, whatever. If it is what it is, everything lines up. It's a 2-wheel drive original, because obviously we know those are a little bit harder to find.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? Here's my address. Don't call me again. I've had people from Santa Barbara to San Diego call me, and they just, whatever. Bring a trailer and bring the 10 grand. Don't call me again. So I showed up at his doorstep with the money
Right
and with the
on.
trailer, and it was what he said. You know what I'm saying?
So now,
That's cool.
When you got it in the beginning, what did it look like? Was it just
It was red. Like a Coca-Cola red. So he painted it,
Okay.
at his house. It looked pretty decent. I was happy with it. It had a 383 stroker, and it had all the that.
so it's fixed up a little bit?
Yeah, no, it's fixed up a little bit. Had just rolling wheels, so I ended up picking up some rally rims and drove it like that. I put it all together because he didn't have everything set. The hood was on here and what have you. And actually, he tried to be a nice guy. I hope he doesn't see this. But they tried to put on the front fenders, and somebody tried to open the door and a little bit, so we had to touch that up.
Yeah.
That was no big deal. I was super happy to get it.
Because it was an OG 2-wheel drive.
OG 2-wheel drive, yeah. The rarest of rare.
Yeah, and which are even rare now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Do people
yeah.
care as much now, or do they not care?
They do. The purists do. I'm not a purist. Obviously with the 67 front clip, which he had, I believe that you could do better with a 4-wheel drive.
Oh, really?
100%. K5 Larry is probably my number one example.
Like do better.
Oh,
as
like
far as-
for sale?
Because
selling
you
it?
can get it cheaper. You're going to pay a big premium for trying to go 2-wheel drive original.
I see what you're saying.
You're going to put either a GSI, a Porter built, which is what I have. You're going to go, chop and block, whatever, or the frames, or front and back, however you do it. You're going to go that style, and you're going to get rid of the
Oh, I see what
4-wheel
you're
or
saying.
2-wheel
So you
drive,
might
yeah.
as well start with a
Yeah.
4-wheel. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, who cares if mama's a natural redhead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, man. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of
And
sense.
so there's a lot more out there, 100%. And you want it on the ground at least for
Yeah.
us. If you're going to keep it stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did you drive it like that? Because that was what year again?
I want to say that was 03. I drove it for a few years. Like that. It went from rally rims, I think 15.8s, 15.10s in the back, a little aggressive, but a little bit low, maybe a 5.7 drop. And then the next move after that was I redid the interior black with Boss 338 wheels. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of the middle of the mall. Shout out to Tino for that one. Middle of the mall stuff. But I ended up cutting a quarter coil, just to get a little bit more, and then adding a bigger block. So it was more like a 6.9. So it was a little closer. Didn't really rub anything, but drove around that for a long time. And I think that for years until crossed over to the Get Down. That's first one's 2011.
So
Is that right?
living out here, how did you start to get into with the group of the C10 guys? So how did that originate? I mean, did you have friends that already had C10s and you just decided to start a club, or where did this all spring from? Because it's out of control now.
It is so big.
Not out of control. It's
Yeah.
it's like
just huge.
It's just huge. Everywhere you go, there's C10 Club this state, and
Yeah.
So how did that start?
So, and that's, I'm kind of glad I'm here because I want to, every time I get a chance to let everybody know, I am not, the beginner.
Oh, really?
I did not invent the C10 Club. It's actually started by a woman. It was actually a gift from Renee, the C10 King's sister, to him for a Christmas gift. Gave him a hat that said C10 Club.
Oh.
From there, he said, you know what, this is kind of cool. I could do something with it. Him, Kevin, and a few of the others. There's a couple other guys that did it, that kind of did it 10 years before I got around.
Yeah.
So they were coming down for years to the Brothers Truck Show.
Where do they live at?
They're from Central America. Central America. Sorry.
Whoa.
Sorry about that.
That's a big jump.
That's Central Cali. So they're from.
Do me a favor real quick so we can
Yeah.
scoot your chair and sit more directly at the camera. No, you can go back where you're comfortable. Yeah. Because it just seems like you're looking at me. Like
Okay,
both looking at me.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
we're
go
just
back.
staring
My guy
at
here.
you.
I'm going to go for the second segment. It'll be this one.
Yeah, no, floating
No.
around, swinging around.
So for Central California, which is Atwater, Fresno, Clovis, anything.
Central Valley.
Anything
Yeah,
the other
Central
side of that hill,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Bakersfield's not SoCal.
Yeah, I know.
We had
That's
this
such a
discussion.
strong misconception.
Yeah, no. You
Oh,
got to
no.
stay up there.
And Fresno's their own thing too.
There is. Our club has two separate chapters. We have a Bakersfield chapter and a SenCal chapter.
Okay.
So yeah, it's two.
It's just because SenCal's so big.
Yeah.
Like, you got
Oh,
your
yeah.
Visalia guys and your Lindsay and Portervilles, like those kind of guys.
Corcoran. Again, you got Modest. We can
yeah,
go on
yeah,
forever
it's
for
Fresno,
100%,
yeah.
and that's why. So I met the guys. One of the guys reached out. Back in the day, we all used to go on the forum, 67 to 72, ChevyTrucks.com.
This
forum.
is a big thing.
Big.
I
forum.
hear you guys talk about this a lot.
The forums.
Yeah, the forums.
And I'll tell you, nothing would have happened or got big without them. That's where we all met. That's where the Dinos and the Delmos and the Portervilles and
okay, so that
these
was-
guys. This is
Who
where we would all-
ran that forum?
It's still up. It's I don't really know the guy's name, but he was, I guess, some kind of a webmaster. You know what I'm saying? It's still out there. I don't really go on it much now with social media,
Yeah.
instant gratification, IG, and what have you. But he made it because I think his dad was building a 6772.
Needed to find parts.
And parts. And he's like, and more sources and people. And so he got it and became better. Back in those days, they had, like a little setup for you to make your own forum.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. Did a
Like
great
your
job.
own topic
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, I
So-
remember.
yeah.
Forums play a huge part. Whoa.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Mama
Forums
Son.
play a huge part in a lot of things. Like there was I don't know if you guys remember Desert Rangers. Like that was another huge forum, but that was for like the off-road community,
yeah.
like the desert racing
anything.
guys. There's the Samba. Remember the Samba?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
Samba
yeah,
was
that's
huge for
Volkswagen, right?
Volkswagens. Yeah, Volkswagens.
no.
And
And still, you see guys, I bought this off of Zon. I see it Samba. Yeah.
So it's interesting how that was like the very predated all the social media. That was the social media.
It cuts through the noise. Is
Uh-huh.
what it does. What I mean? It gets right to the people that you're. Facebook Marketplace does a good job now with kind of knowing what you like. And such suggestions and stuff. But like, if you're looking for certain things, you don't want to sift through what you don't want.
But also like the community involved.
That
Like
was the secondary. That
yeah,
was
that's like the byproduct.
That's
of
the
it.
byproduct of it. Was that? Yeah. So everyone was on there because I heard like Ronnie always talking.
Yeah,
about
they-
it.
Yeah,
Ronnie
so
went to you guys,
Ronnie,
like, yeah.
Sam, and you've got to go back to find out who the names were because
Oh, yeah.
I think
Because
the
they just
only-
had nicknames.
your different handles. So
Yeah.
I just kind of went on there, and my license plate on my Honda Accord was John Oro.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a funny thing because my name's Juan Orozco, so Oro. So that's where you get the first name, but you can't put that on a license plate. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get this plate because someday my kid will be whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I got it, and it just stuck. So everywhere you're cruising, hey, Johnny, everybody, and it stuck. So on the handle, I
Yeah.
got it. So actually, if anything, John, I'm the junior. Yeah, he's John. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
So just talking through the forums, and then what was the first time that you recall where guys from out of state got together? Was it Dino's, or was it?
No. They used to come to the Brothers Truck Show. That went on. It's going on like 26 years.
Oh, okay.
But
That was the meetup.
That was the meetup. That was like where we
Yeah.
met up. Now, we used to also do one at Renee's house, C10 King,
Yeah.
out in Atwater, and it just got so big. It got so big till it's in a private house, 85 trucks, and that was
I'm piecing together who you're talking about. I remember like Ronnie made a video or something going up there hanging out with him, and he's got like a ranch or something.
Yeah, C10, the C10 ranch. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Anytime you guys are in that area, he'd love to have you. I'm speaking for you because I know. So yeah, he's a good dude. So I met those guys at the Brothers show. From the forum, they say, hey man, we're gonna come down. We should park with us. You've got a Blazer. I've got a Blazer. So all of us for a while there was like 7 of us with 2-wheel drive Blazers.
That's cool.
So we would all park together and then it just became bigger. So from that little gift, Renee's sister to Renee, they did it for, like I said, 10 years. They did it for much longer than I've been around. And so, but when they met me, they said, hey man, we'd really like to start something here.
Yeah.
In SoCal. So, what do you think? And I said, well, it's kind of cool. What's it about? Obviously, everything was super chill. It's no rules, no dues.
It's like a really like decentralized club, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunately, the name club is in the club. At least what I say is the name club's in the club. It's not really, like there's not.
It's just it's a group.
Yeah,
right.
It's a group. You know what I'm saying? But it's grown. So now we just live by it, and we have a group. It's just as long as you're a good person, good people.
You
Yeah.
can
Family
fly
oriented,
that-
and we
that-
obviously we're going to meet because we like the truck. So that's what gravitates it. So that's our common ground. But we like to say, I don't bring the grandkids around, and what have you. So it's super family oriented. You know what I'm saying? If you're not about that, it's not the right place
It's not
for you.
And you'll naturally find your place.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
and that'll go towards maybe later in the story where we have different groups that kind of.
That's what I was going
part
to
of
ask.
the faction.
So if like C10 Club is like sort of like this decentralized thing that's sort of just like if you're cool, you're a part of it, basically.
Yeah, if you want to rep, there's a little sticker. If you want to take that thing off after the show, you just want to barbecue. It's not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So there are dudes who like belong to other clubs who also are part of C10 Club.
Yeah, just ask
Milan.
Oh yeah,
Milan?
Okay, that makes perfect
Milan.
sense. Yeah.
Dino. Well, no, Dino's.
No, the Down to Earth guys up in NorCal.
Yeah,
They fly C10 Club.
There's a bunch. There might be 1 or 2 from your guys' club. I just don't want to. Just saying.
We got Will. So Will's part of C10 Club.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Frank has a C10,
I do.
Well,
I
listen,
do.
let me know.
I actually have a couple
Let me know,
of
and
them.
I'll come out and bless it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's one thing that started. Kevin used to do that from those guys up there. Kevin was the original guy, kind of would go out and put the sticker and do it. But as we ventured further out, after we did all these things at the Brothers Truck Show, more guys wanted to be part of it. I think one of the bigger ones was from us meeting on the forum. I invited Dino. Hey, come check this out. Do this little thing.
And
get together.
You only knew him from the forum.
Yeah. So went out to Renee's, came out, and he's like, dude, I like this. This is cool. I'd like to do something
In Arizona
like this. And that's the birth. I think that's probably one of the things, that did it. So
that led to
the growing. So the other part that I think led to it from the forum again, Dino wanted to do this. And me and Dell went out. He took Sam's.
And Dell had already lived. He lived in California at this time. He
was still at Old Crow Speed Shop. So
That's in Burbank, right?
Burbank, yeah. So he was there right next to Hollywood Hot Rods. In fact, they used to call Old Crow Speed Shop or Delmo's Hollywood Hot Rods North.
Okay.
Because so he's really tight with the guys there at Hollywood Hot Rods. So he was taking one of Sam's truck he just finished, maybe Jackalope, I want to say that was the truck. And I followed Dell, and we were the first guys to kind of cross into Arizona and do it. And
cool.
Then Dino sees it, right? And he's like, hey, thank you for coming out. Super cool, you know what I'm saying? So he was super happy to have us do that.
So was that the first get
That
down?
was at number 2. So the first one's not really the get down because it wasn't named till the second one. But it was the first gathering.
Yeah.
All right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, and I don't know. I mean, Dino does call it the first get down because they get, but it wasn't named until after.
So that was the Friday night before Good Guys.
And the reason it happened Friday is because a lot of guys would come out, bring their trucks, bring their rides over to Good Guys, and Good Guys, 6 in the morning you're there, and by noon you're done. You're like, noon, let's go. You're from out of towns, so you're going to check out the local scenery and whatever there's going to do. And if you were with mama, you're with the boys, you're going to go out and, have a good time in that little, you're going to take it over that town. So Dino said, hey, after that, I work, I have the shop. At 5 o'clock, let's do something mine. 5 to 9, 5 to 10, and so obviously got super big, but we would all meet, and every year there got earlier, 3 o'clock. So that was the reason we used to do it at 3 o'clock, because everybody would be there. Give him a chance to at least do some of the work for his appliance business, but then cut it off. So once Dino saw the C10 Club stuff, he was like, hey, what's this about? And I told him, it's whatever. And he had seen it from the forum. So he used to rock. I'll put you on blast here, Dino. You know how everybody had SoCal and NorCal on there with those little, not old English, but they had like a little certain font. They would rock those stickers. Yeah. SoCal, NorCal. He had one, not Cal.
Yeah. I remember the not Cal stuff.
So I talked to him about it. He was super happy. We got along really good. And he was my first C10 Club guy. He peeled that one off and put the C10 Club.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So once you get someone like that, co-signing on that, they see it and get people asking about it. And
so was this sort of like at the dawn of like this C10 era that we now like have?
Yeah, that was.
This was like kind of before it got crazy.
It had gone. Yeah, it had gone for many years. Like I said, 10 years before, but it really doesn't. So I like to say, I didn't start the C10 Club, but I gave it an injection, a little Viagra there, just like it was.
Well, we have a guy in our club that had a Blazer, loves convertible, so he had a Blazer. He lives out.
As you was talking about that, I was thinking of
Beaumont and Banning, and I remember the second or third Dinos. He was like, "Hey, there's this thing out in Arizona," and he's like, "I want to take the Blazer to it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "It's just called the Get Down." And I lived in California at the time. I was still in SoCal. And I was like, I never heard of it, man.
What part of SoCal? Bakersfield?
Me? No. I would never live in Bakersfield. No offense, Bakersfield.
No.
No, I'm in Inland Empire. That's where I grew up.
Okay. So, that's right. I have paid attention. You're like in Hemet.
No. So Riverside, Moreno Valley. Hemet was like a year and a half of my life.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then
that Hemet stinks.
The Hemet stinks.
With Donald, when we interviewed Donald, not to go off track, but the Hemet thing really stuck around. It's like he got labeled with it. Boop.
Yeah, if you live in Hemet for a month, you're like, oh, you're from it.
Yeah.
No, but he was like, yeah, and then I was like, yeah, I never heard of it, man. I don't know what this is. Right. And now I'm not a big part of Dino's, but like I made those videos, and he calls me and goes, remember when I told you about that? Yep. Now look at you.
Our buddy, this buddy that he's talking about, had that K5, and he sold it before like it really popped off.
So which one was it? I might remember it.
It was green. Okay. It was green with a white top, and it was sort of patinaed a little bit. He redid the interior in
Square body or
no, early 70s. I think.
Okay, so it's first generation?
I think so.
So 69
I'm not really familiar with like C10, like the very specific C10s. I can say like, 60s C10, late 60s, early 70s square body.
I only recently learned 67 to 72. Like, I didn't know years at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Are you kidding me?
No, and I'm like a car dude.
Ask me about Toyotas and which 4Runner or which Chrome bar, which bumpers are on what. But yeah, my brain doesn't retain information like that. You know what I mean? Like even in some of the mini truck stuff, I still don't retain some of that information. I just look at things and go, I like that. It's like I always refer to like bands when people are like, hey, the drummer of so and so band? They're like, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I have no idea the band.
I like that one song.
I just like the songs.
Yeah.
So I kind of related to that, but yeah, I'm trying to learn that. So now I know what 67 to 72s are, and 73 to 87, and all that, 88 to 98, and all that. And I even have a Chevy now that I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I have, like I said, I have two of them. I have a square body, I think like a 77. I'm not sure on the year, and like a 65. I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Look at you got your first thing.
I know, man. I'm gonna go stick that in my square body. I'm gonna be like Milan with a step side. But anyway.
So that was 2013, 12.
So now we're going. I think he's calling this one the 11th.
Yeah.
And like I said, he calls it the 11th, but Sam didn't give it the name until I think the very first year when they actually made a shirt. And I think I still have that one with the jackalope on it somewhere.
So, not really fast forward, but just the way that it grew. The entire scene grew as Dino's Get Down grew. It seems.
I was going to ask
Yes,
that.
that and what social media. So out of Dino getting it and it got more popular and everybody's, going, more social media got into that. But also you get guys asking, and guys from Texas were coming down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guys from Texas were coming down saying, what's the C10 Club about? How could I join? So I had a guy reach out, Ruben reached out from Texas and said, what do you think? And from this point, I had actually talked to Renee, going back a little bit, and Renee wanted me to do the SoCal. I said, here's the deal. I come from this background. And Renee, being an old prison guard, understood. He wanted me to do SoCal, and he wanted SunCal. I'm like, instead of doing SoCal and NorCal and this, I just want to be John Oro pulled up. Oh, he happens to live in Long Beach. He happens to be, so I want to be, just wanted to be one large group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know many clubs use the one chapter, one club. We kind of adopted that, but as it got too big, you do need to kind of spread it out.
Because you do need representatives.
You do representatives, and it's I don't want to say logistics. I'm not using the right word, but there's a lot of things that you don't know what it's out, the culture. Even though C10s, they like them, whatever. But give you an example, El Paso, that's El Chuco C10 Club, and when that got kind of Ruben would go through it. He's kind of my guy that kind of goes through the guys and make sure they're good people for a while, and then we introduce them and bring them along. But and not all of this. I can't give that guy enough praise because he's done a lot of work. He's brought everybody on from then on. So he Alex started El Chuco, and they reached out to me, and I saw it pop up, El Chuco. I'm like, so I
Wait,
reached
El
out.
Chuco's not that dude's name?
No, his name is Alex.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex.
I thought that was his name.
That's exactly what I thought. So here's where it goes. Is like El Chuco to me means like old Pachucos, right? It's like, hey, it's a kind of a little gang bangy and whatever. Like, hey man, I mean, can he just be El Paso and like whatever? And Alex called me and he said, hey, here's the deal. This is our culture. El Paso is known as El Chuco. This is not like this. And he's the furthest guy from anybody.
I didn't know that.
He's solid dude. Great example for the kids. Fireman,
that dude is so
solid.
nice. Him and Pablo, like the two nicest
the best
dudes.
of the best.
Oh man, yeah.
He does everything he does. He doesn't do it for a shine. He just like, where he's doing backpack for kids starting back to school, Easter baskets, toy drives. I just, just solid dude. He explained to me, hey, this is what's a town like. So made sense. I say, well, and that's what told me like, yeah, you know what? When you bring guys like that, they know what they're doing. As long as you kind of,
Exactly. That you need that representative, so they can vet the guys.
Yeah.
And you know that they're a good guy. So you know what? I always tell like our club, like the people you want in are the people that you would invite over to your house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If someone comes into the club and you're like, I don't want that person in my house,
Right.
then why would you want them in your club?
Yeah. I guess.
Because you don't want them. Why would you want them in your circle?
Yeah.
It
that
doesn't even have
makes
to be a
sense.
club. This club just
yeah.
represents a circle of friends, and their circle of friends is people you want to be social with.
Yeah.
If that person's a negative, and I think like when it goes back to Dino and Dino getting involved in that kind of helping, see, because Dino's so positive.
Right.
When you see him comment on stuff, there's no negativity.
Oh yeah.
He'd never like maybe in real life, but not. I've never seen it. He's always just like positive, like heck yeah, cool, awesome.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
never like a you should
I
have.
would have done it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's never that.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just like cool. That's awesome. Do it. And the way he shakes everyone's hands as they come into the get down, and he tries to like all that stuff. And
Well, we were just talking about that with our last guest that we had on. Is like that's what people are attracted to. They're attracted to like genuine positive people,
right.
and that's why guys like you and Dino and like all these other dudes in the scene, like that's why I think it's so rich, is because you have those kinds of people.
well, because you can naturally sift out the people that aren't doing it for the
Yeah.
right reason.
Right.
And it takes some time. Yeah.
It
Well,
does take time.
and that's what I was wondering. Like
It's
with
good,
this,
yeah.
with such a big organization that is going on, you must run into that sometimes, where people don't really fit in. And,
Yeah. No, I do get a few calls, and it's like, hey, and sometimes I just let it kind of die out and see what's going to happen, let them handle
Yes.
it. And I think that's kind of the most natural way
It is.
instead of Oro coming in and trying to make a call.
Because 90% of the time, it handles itself.
Yeah,
does. It does.
definitely.
Once that person knows that they're kind of like, they're most of the time they'll bounce.
And that's probably why we ended up getting different chapters. And again, I hate to do it, but chapters, if you will, because there's groups of guys that just, they're in a different, they still like the same thing. They still like the trucks. They still like this group. But you'll get guys like the C10 compadres. Every one of those members are C10 Club guys. Renee's one of them. You know, I think I'm an honorary one. I got the shirt, so I don't know. But good dudes, and they're just a little bit, a bit more mellow. Some of the guys are, should I put them out there? In law enforcement, they're some of the guys are family guys. Some of the guys, well, most of us are family guys, but they're just more chill, more relaxed. And they don't want to be part of the other guys that are, spinning wheels and doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, you'll find your home with who you click with. Still part of the C10 Club, you know what I'm saying? But just they do a lot more. Those compadres, they do baptize each other's kids. They are real compadres. They all hang out and they work on each other's garage. They're tighter than maybe other group of guys I've got is C10 Club Los Angeles. Younger version. That's all we say. Those are just C10 compadres South. You know what I'm saying? They're just younger guys. They all would at each other's houses working on rides and doing that thing. Tighter group. And then you've got the general big C10 Club. It just guys, we meet up at shows, we do our thing. And
now, what part of this does Biggie represent?
Biggie came around just recently. He reached out. So
This is Bakersfield?
This is Bakersfield, but Kern County.
Kern County.
So what happened there is on the forum, had a kid that said, "Hey man, I'd like to be able to help you out and grow the club. Maybe I'm a graphic artist. I do this." And I said, yeah. I wasn't really looking to make t-shirts or anything like that. And so he made some stuff for the club, but he was more into it. And when he was making stuff for us, I told him, here's the deal. I don't mind if you sell stuff. Because for me, it was like, put the name out there. Put the name out there like...
just give it to the people that...
Amazon, everybody gets it. So, because if they don't want to be part of it, and I never really wanted to sell a shirt or anything. Have you? That's, my thing, although maybe I should now.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because like you give sort of like with the C10 Club name, you sort of give people free reign. Like you want to create, not necessarily merch, but like...
We do. So on the C10 crew, I told them, hey man, you're going to make C10, same thing with C10 Era. They both were making stuff for us, and they would slang it on swap meet shows, what have you. And I said, to be honest, I would start your own stuff, dude. Because, it's going to be a point where other people make it. And every one of the C10 Club stuff that comes out, whether it's Texas, Tennessee, Utah, whoever makes it, that money goes back to your club.
Okay.
There's no royalties. It just, t-shirts are pain. You know what I'm saying? So what are you going to make at the end of the day you just try to make a little bit to get you to the next show or what have you.
Fund the barbecue, fund the food,
exactly.
fund the beers.
As long as all of it goes back to there, that's it. So, and we've had issues where guys says, well, I want to make all, no. Why should Texas pay you for you to make the shirts?
Right.
Like, no, I mean, if I'm not making money off of it, you're not going to make money off of it.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Did that ever happen? Like,
no, we did. And it's like, I won't say growing pains, but it was like that. And that's where I came. And, I asked the guys, well, Kevin and Renee, what do we can do here when you want me to expand it? They wanted me to expand it. And they're smart. They're older guys. Let the young guy do his thing and do whatever. So I said, listen, there's going to have to be, at the end, somebody that's going to make these decisions. And they're smart. Politically wise, they pulled back and, hey, listen, we'll back you up on whatever you say. All right, here we go. So this kid that reached out on the forum, I didn't take him up on some of the stuff, but later on he made some shirts, and they were super cool. We're glad he came out. So that's Hector and Carlos, his brother. They're up in Atwater, same town as Renee and Livingston now. And then they came up with their own C10 crew. Why be under us, dude? Make your own thing. I told them, we'll back you up 100%, dude. We'll buy your stuff. And that opened it up to the younger generation that wanted to be something different, and the crew worked out good.
Yeah,
That's
does.
really cool.
Yeah, no.
That's really cool how like you gave them the room to grow. You know, you kind of gave them the right direction.
All I really did was support them.
Because
Hey,
if you tell someone no,
Yeah,
they're
they're
going
gonna
to
do
do
it.
something anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
So you might as well be like, here's some good ideas, run with it, and now we're still part of this.
no, and
thing.
still to this day, C10 Aero makes C10 Club stuff. C10 Crew, because they were the OGs, and
Yeah.
they've gotten that, that grandfathered in, if you will. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Other than that, I do frown if somebody's not part of the club to make it, especially if they don't have a chapter. Like, hey, dude, you're just making this stuff and making money. Now, if my guys reach out to me and say, hey, I want you to make a plaque, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because those guys are reaching out to get that. But, if they're going to a show and I see that, like, not even part of the club, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but for the most part, we keep it in check. And, it takes, as you guys know, it takes a lot of money to make these, new designs and new this and a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
I want to.
It's a process for sure. You know what I mean? Especially when we ran into this thing, what was it, 2 years ago when we were like, hey, we're going to do 2 or 4 designs.
Oh, we did 4 designs.
We
yeah.
did 4 designs for our club, and we
Yeah.
offered them in hoodies and zip-ups and
It was
all
just
this
so
stuff, and it
much.
just became this like,
And
How
I
many
make
got- how
all,
many
I
got
don't
left?
make all the stuff, but I do make a lot. That's what I do. I do screen printing.
Yeah.
And so like that was sort of the role that I was filling, and it was
it
so
was
I,
heck,
I
we
get
did
it.
women's
I get it.
tanks, men's tank tops,
Yeah.
long sleeves, and I'm
Can
like,
and then can I get a kid's shirt? Oh,
yeah.
that's the worst
So
question.
this
in the world.
last shirt we did, we were like, we're just doing this.
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing.
I've run into that.
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, merch is definitely it's one of those things where you have to kind of keep it in check a little bit because it can get out of control real quick, and then it could just causes problems.
Right.
It just this it all comes down to money. Money is
Right.
the root of all evil. You
Oh,
know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying?
Ah,
Like
yeah,
100%
For sure.
is that how it goes. So
How many members do you think exist in the C10 Club? Do you guys have like an approximate estimate or an exact estimate? Like,
No, not really. Only because some guys will come, some guys will go. Groups get bigger. And the only thing I try to keep an eye on is all the states, like how many chapters have grown. You know what I'm saying? And you get guys that have recently kind of bowed out. They kind of ran their term, and then after they either moving on to other things, or the other thing that I kind of like to see is, and it doesn't bug me at all. I love to see guys get it. They get a little bit of confidence because now they met people and they're growing, whatever. And now, hey, listen, I'm just gonna kind of do my own thing. I'm gonna do my own. Dude, do it, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're
I'm
saying.
glad
That's the
that
theme.
we had the time where we had it.
Yeah.
There's no ills. Like, dude, I wish you the best, man.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
really cool. Yeah,
And
'cause
guys
that's-
that are doing pod, guys that are doing their own YouTube channels, guys that
because
just
you know that you gave them a little bit of confidence,
right.
Yeah,
to be
and that's
around
where
a
they got
group,
it.
and then open their eyes to like, oh, now
I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it,
Yeah.
man. Do it. Again, that's and you have to be like, for me, you have to really mean what you say. No rules, no dues. Not because, hey, dude, I decided, you know what, it's not my thing. Hey, dude, thanks for that
Thanks
little
for hanging out for a little
thanks
bit.
for hanging for a while. And there's no come to the shows, come hang out anytime. So you get guys that there's some good guys and some guys just whatever.
Yeah, it's like a filter, just filters itself out.
It does.
So now the nitty gritty question. So like, let's say, it's the C10 Club is this big thing and it, a lot of people participate. So what about the OBS guys and like the NBS guys? Like, do
Yeah.
you
We
let
have
them in?
guys. So we do, and that happened some years back when we had some guys that were really cool, and we had other guys kind of beat around the bush, and they're like, hey, man. So generally it's 67. It was originally 67, like to 87, right?
Oh,
That's
so
what-
not even like the early 60s
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, for the most part. But then it was, 67, 72. I'm sorry, 67 to 87. But then as the groups got bigger, and we're really talking about no rules, no dues, whatever, like, dude, we don't care, dude.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of this, that's super cool. I'm glad you
Well,
want to be
you
part
said
of this.
67 to 87.
Yeah.
What
so
about
Steven
like the
Square Bike.
65s?
No, even them. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So in the early days, I'm trying to go back to see, because it wasn't like 1908. Like right now with the first GMC truck or
Yeah.
whatever. It was basically the C10s.
So the actual C10 didn't start till 67?
No, that.
Oh, really?
was-
So
no,
a 63
They
is-
did.
oh,
They
that is
did.
a C10.
I want to say 6. Somebody's gonna call me out on this because I don't know it. Say, John
okay.
Oro,
Don't worry.
C10 Club
People
doesn't
call
know
us out all the
when
time.
first
Yeah.
C10 Club, or the first C10, but for us as a group, again,
I see.
it's in the name. The club's there and the C10 is, but you're looking at John Oro C10 Club, and I don't
with
even
a
have
K5.
with the C5. That's
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
Which
C5.
is
because the K5s are 4-wheel drive.
yes, and
C5s
but
are 2-wheel
they're
drive.
all stamped as K5s.
Oh, see,
Because
this is what I
gives you-
love.
yeah, yeah.
So me, like, we talk about mini
Yeah,
trucks
yeah.
and Toyotas and stuff. I'm like a Mazda nerd.
Okay.
I love Mazdas, like late '80s B series Mazdas. It's like a
Okay.
B2200.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
one of
yeah.
my favorite things to do is like go to the junkyard and look at like the different, setups. Like sometimes you would find like a 2200 pickup with like a 2600 thing. So I nerd out on all this stuff.
Okay.
So it's really cool to meet someone who knows all those
Yeah,
very
the guy that
minute
didn't know what year the
details.
C10 first.
Yeah, I know. No, but
No, for sure,
that's
for
really
sure.
cool
No,
because
they're
that's what I really admire about the whole scene is like we run into it sometimes when like because Chris drew that C10 shirt for you and it's got a different front end on
Yeah.
it and he gets called out all the time.
Oh, is that right?
But
I
it's
have to
great.
check
Like
that out.
you figure like people would get like he would get apprehensive or something, but no, it's like no, that's kind of cool. That's really neat that you know that.
Right?
It's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because the mini truck guys when they were building C10s, I mean, they weren't traditional C10s. They were cutting them up, putting different front ends on
Yeah.
them, putting different taillights in them, putting like whatever, taking them to the doors. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I hear you guys. You guys, us mini truckers, we're committed. yeah, some for the most part are. Yeah,
Well,
but ours we can. Was for the most part the guys that don't go all that way because we do have guys that.
Yeah.
Right. They consider it like a classic. Oh, I don't want to cut up a classic, or it's a little bit more to
that's
Yeah.
that's where I think the biggest difference is between a C10 show and a mini truck show, or just the quote unquote cultures
The culture.
in general is a mini truck. You can do whatever you want to it. It's not a classic. They're becoming a little bit more classics,
yeah.
right? But a mid 80s or 90s mini truck, it doesn't matter what you do to it. You can experiment with them. You don't really do that to an older truck like a C10 because they're more of a classic.
Well, and like, and this is where we're like really interested in talking to you, like finding out these, because like us growing up in the mini truck scene, it was the main goal, the two main goals was to be as wild with the body mods and as low as you can get it, no matter what. That was like the two things. And now with like the whole C10 world existing, like those guys, like we didn't have any monetary value to these things. We didn't care.
Right,
but
right.
now it seems like with the C10 world, when you're building a truck, not only do you have to like focus your energy on what you're creating, but you also have to remember that this thing is worth a lot of money, and you have to like, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but
if you
are some
shave
people.
the taillights, have you just dropped the truck in value?
That's what I'm talking about. Mhm.
I mean, if you look at some of those wild builds from the 80s that were masterpieces, the Chevy C10 trucks, and they try to run them through Barrett, and they're trying to get current C10 prices, they're not getting them because they're too wild.
Yeah, too wild for that era.
They're too wild for that era.
Yeah.
They're, you know what I mean? And so yeah, it's just that's where I see like the difference is. But your truck is a little different because your truck is.
And I feel like you have some tendencies that we do. Like you're like a little wild, like you said earlier. You like it a little more wild. Your truck is bodied, big wheels, like modern interior. Like it definitely has. If I may be so bold, it definitely has some mini trucking traits to it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, this one obviously a big story behind that one is it was built for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of had no say so in it. You know what I'm saying? This old man was happy with the 5.7 drop on rally wheels.
So I was there when they started taking it apart at Metalux.
Oh, okay.
I was filming it.
Okay.
Before I met
This was 2.0?
Yeah, this was when they it was
Metalux, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
that was. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that was the first time I met you. Was on that first LST trip, the eastbound get down that Ronnie put together, and I remember him telling me, he's like, "Hey, see that dude over there?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "That dude, his name is John Oro. All these guys are building him a truck. He doesn't know." He's like, "I've been filming it," and he's like filling me in. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is so cool."
Well,
That's when we started this
you
pod.
knew they had the truck, right?
Yeah, so it went.
Because it was getting the Porterbuilt frame put on it.
So here's what happened. This is actually at 3.0. So what happened is I had it on those Boss 338s, the middle of the ball stuff. 5.7 drop. I cut a little bit, a quarter of coil, so 6.9 drop. Cruising around with all these guys. I met, Eddie XXL250. I met Johnny G. I met some of these guys. Man, we used to go to Del Mar together and do it. So as I'm going to all these get downs, you know what I'm saying? I met some of the guys, and in that beginning, I mean, we helped everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I was like a cheerleader for the scene. That's really what I did. All these guys, I loved the scene. I wanted to see all these guys. Nobody's in competition.
Mm-hmm.
We had enough. So Porterville was there. The beginnings of, you name it, the beginnings started during that time.
Yeah.
There was nobody else around. Maybe Chisholm Suspension, which no longer exists, but none of these guys that were doing C10 stuff really had a big name until that little burst of
because Porterville was the first one doing stuff.
Yes.
What
He
was
is
it?
the originator of the
Porterville
drop
or
member.
a chopping block?
Porterville.
Oh, they were
Porterville
first?
was the first. Like if you
Yeah,
had
the
a
drop.
C10 or Suburban or anything like that, when you bag those, the lower A arms sit way low.
Yeah.
So that's what sat on the ground.
Yeah.
So you had two options. You could Z your frame, and
Yeah.
bring that all the way up, and that's what all the guys did. But then Porterville
came
along.
up with the thing to
And
lift
before
them up.
that, there was other guys
okay.
that were laying, but what they would do is they would cut the lower control arm, that whole cross member. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that,
So
that
they would-
Z the frame basically.
So to get it that low, and him and some of the guys developed that actual first drop member. So he's the only one, that could
Yeah.
kind of say claim to
So
fame
when-
is that's his drop member.
When Kyle had the truck at his shop, it was bagged, right?
It was bagged. We had
because they were pulling the motor out.
Yeah, they pulled. Yeah.
And I have all that on video. And then it was like, because I was filming Kyle cut bedsides down. I did some videos for him.
This is Metalox?
This is
Metalox,
Kyle
yeah.
Metalox Fag. Yep. So he was like, hey, we're doing this to Oro's truck, and it'd be cool to do this thing. So we had this big old plan. And then it just kind of fizzled out. Because
Oh, it never came to completion?
No, because the truck, I don't know the story. And I don't want to
give it
like.
to you.
Yeah. So the truck all of a sudden was there, and then it wasn't
gone.
there. It was gone.
So here's what happened. It goes back to that LSC trip. So the first time that some of my guys came up, including Porterville, a bunch of guys went to Del Mar, and as I went somewhere, they put a bunch of stuff in the back of my Blazer. And so now I'm driving around, like, again, just a 5.7 drop, a little bit lower because I cut the coil and added a bigger block. I was cool. I was happy with that. I was okay. But I'm hanging out with guys that now have C notches and big step notches. So they said, listen, in their way, here's this, step it up. So
they gave you parts.
So they gave me parts on that, and that was
Like
when
a
I first
step
got my
notch
a step
okay.
notch
Yeah.
and what have you. So I did a bigger step notch with a built-in bag at that time, and what was it? It was the same wheels. I'm trying to think who else was involved in that first one. I know Dino's and all these guys, put a bunch of stuff in it. So we changed up a little stuff, but the rendering, and I'll give this one to Digital C10. So that's Kevin Stickle.
Yeah.
He did a rendering for it, and I'll send that to you so you can put it. It was laying.
Oh, and that sent you. You're like,
dude.
that's the look.
So once I saw it, and you know what I'm saying, and obviously I have other guys that had them. I'm like, there's just.
You had to do it.
Yeah, I had to do it.
Where did the name Prom Queen come from?
So with that one, it's I always say it because that first one that I had, it's again that's the one that I bought from Tehachapi. It's kind of pretty to look at, but if you got close, deep down inside, she had issues.
Very
So,
good.
yeah.
I like it.
So that one happened, and then as I saved my money to do this front and rear Porterville and do all this stuff, we took a trip, and I jumped in with Sean Provost to LST.
That's what
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
remember
That was
that.
when
great
Provost
time.
went the first time.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they had the big motorhome.
Yeah. It was a great
Yeah.
time, and sat and Sean kind of talked to me. Hey man, so what are you doing? Where's the Blazer at? And I talked to him about it, what I was going to do. So originally I talked to Kyle. Hey, so what do you think it's going to be? This is what I want to do. Plus I had a little bit of rust in one of the doors, whatever. Just I got it over. Do
Yeah.
this. So that was what it was going to be. It was just going to be the Porterville front and rear. I already had AccuAir, but it had that CVT setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, at that
Yeah.
time. So rode that trip with Sean, talked, and as we got there, we got tight, learning each other and what have you. And he says, "Hey man, I'd like to get involved on this." And I'm like, well, let me know what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? What have you. So on the way back, we drove straight through. This guy is like, we went to LST, and it's a road trip. Getting there. We can't do it with this guy because this guy just drives straight through. This at the beginning, but
Yeah.
So it took us a while to get there. Went through the storms. We on that particular trip.
Oh, that was the first. Okay, now I know you're talking about the first year. Yeah.
So
that was the first year when we drove straight through because, and that's the funny. There's another funny story to that because that's the first time me and you met. That very first time. That's when we went to Aaron's, right? Or
right,
no?
Aaron Kaufman. Yeah.
No.
That was
That's the first year we.
That
met.
was the first year.
Yeah, and there's a funny story to that. That was
2016.
Was that the year I skipped? What
Oh
year did
no,
we-
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
you're right.
it was
2017.
2017.
Yeah, because we went in 15
Yeah.
and we didn't go with the C10 guys,
No.
and then
The
17.
C10 guys didn't go.
Okay.
No, so the 2017 was the big road trip.
Yes, in Yellowstone.
Yes.
Yes.
The big plan, right?
Uh-huh.
And we met up at the Loves, and then I remember we get going, and Ronnie's like, "Hey, we're pulling over here," and we're like, "What?" And they pulled over, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna," and I was like, "We're like, nah,
Yeah.
we've
Like,
already
we
been
gotta
doing
go.
this for a long time. We're like, we'll meet you at the we're going." We this was like a job to us where everyone else was a vacation,
Right.
So everyone's sightseeing. We're like, we've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
We're out. We're not.
Yeah.
So that you left because you had to pick Angie up at the airport and drop me off, and then I actually rode with Travis's dad the rest
Jack.
of the way, Jack.
My boy Jack.
But the night we went to Aaron's, we all rode in Yellowstone.
That's right.
But there was not enough room, so you had to ride.
I went on
back.
top.
You went in the back.
I went on top in the camper, and we were having problems with the dry shaft.
Yeah, that's why we went to Aaron's.
Dry
we
shaft.
went to
So
Aaron's.
it
Well, we
was
went there to hang
well,
out,
no, we
but-
went because he loved what we were doing. This is super cool.
Yeah.
You're driving this, big old beast. This big old,
But I didn't
crew
know
cab.
you, right?
No.
So you got bumped to the back for me, right?
Not really. I was the smallest guy. Probably, I don't know. Do you want me overhead on top of that camper?
Well, I
or do
remember
want
you were
Brian?
chilling
This
in
is
the
a-
back, and I would look
Yeah.
back, and I was like, I don't think this dude likes me. I was like, he just got bumped.
I was
Like,
tired.
Who's this guy
I was
that
dealing with
bumped
this.
me?
Yeah,
I know,
no.
right?
I was like, I don't think.
Yeah,
he-
I just, again, when we cruise, I look at the whole thing. So we don't want 5 guys in the truck or 5 guys. We want 4 guys. I'll pop up in the back. Nobody's, I'm a small guy. So we were just babying that thing.
Yeah.
Babying
Yeah.
that thing to cost.
Well, also that was the same one where I don't know his name, but the guy from Big Ten Garage when his radiator exploded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Jason.
Yeah,
Jason
but
Bowman.
Almost.
No, that was a different trip.
was that different?
Different
That was
trip.
on the way to Dallas.
Was it?
Yeah.
No,
'cause-
well, yeah, I got pictures. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right,
that was
because
on
I've
the way
got
to
pictures
Dallas.
of us just sitting in there.
Yeah, and then your
yeah.
buddy Goose with the
Goose.
sign.
Cagoose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
So-
years just kind of flow together.
Yeah, I
But so
know.
the year you went with Sean Provost, got talking to him, and that kind of just like that was the truck already at Kyle's, and then
I think I want to
'Cause
say
wasn't it
yes. I want to
supposed to
say
be-
yes. So let's finish up that
Yeah.
that Aaron Kaufman
Oh yeah.
thing.
Okay.
He loved what we were doing, cross country in this big old camper. Said, "Hey man, come to my house, little barbecue for you guys." We were all stoked. That's cool.
Yeah.
Had problems with that dry shaft on Yellowstone. I was in control of the Bluetooth.
Yes.
And at that time, we were bumping in Yellowstone, right? All the way through.
That's cool.
And so we're driving super slow. I mean, we're going like 7 miles an hour. Come to a stop. We come to a stop. And as we're going in this long driveway to get to his house, as soon as he takes off from the stop, I have it on volume all the way up, and I drop some old everlasting bass. Boom! And these guys just jumped out of their seats. Oh,
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a great time.
I'm
That
bummed
was a-
because you're right. Because we got to Dallas, you went with those guys. I had to go down to Houston to get Angie because she was flying in.
Yep.
I was bummed
yeah,
I
so it
missed
was
that.
Good time. Every one of those trips have been great.
They were fun.
Yeah.
They were fun. And then we did it I think we did 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then I think everybody was kind of like, okay, maybe we'll take a break.
Well,
and then it's been a couple years.
And that's like the C10. There's so many shows, and this. We'll finish the Prom Queen thing, but there's so many C10 shows. You have to decide which ones you're going to.
Now
and
you
that
do.
was Ronnie's thing. He's like, yeah, I want to still do this, but there's also these other events that I really
Right.
want to go to, and you kind of got to decide and make plans of.
You do. I mean, it's a great thing right now that you do have options. Back then, it was only the brothers. Everyone went to brothers, and then after that, the Dinos. You know what I'm saying? And part of that grew,
Yep.
especially with the square bodies, because they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let the square bodies in. They
Yeah.
let me in.
Brother,
You know what I'm
brothers.
At the Good Guys in
Oh, Good
Arizona.
Guys.
So
That-
when we were
yeah.
going over there, you know what I'm saying, they wouldn't let that year in at the time.
Oh.
So we petitioned to them, we talked to them, we talked to the main cheeses, and luckily we've sorted that out now. But that time, you know what I'm saying, that was the one to go to, the
Yeah.
67, I'm sorry, the
And-
Brothers Truck Show, which
And
went
that's sort of where Dino came in, because Dino was like, I'll take them all, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
Chevy
another
only.
thing,
Yeah.
Which is very funny. So I used to, it's so funny, the little parallel that you have going on here. So in the mid 2000s, I was kind of like involved, West Coast Shoppers used to be here. Well,
Yeah.
like they had like a forum too, so I was like kind of
Okay.
involved with
Alright.
that, and it was the same thing. Like the group would meet up. Well, and Jesse, I don't know if you remember, used to host the No Love Party.
on. Okay, no, I did not know that, but okay.
So he used to host this party called the No Love Party, and what it was is that weekend that he hosted this party was they had the Love Ride, which was the Harley Owners Association ride.
Okay.
Well, Jesse being Jesse, like he did the anti that, so he came up with like the No Love Party, right? And I can kind of see that parallel because you have Good Guys, which is this like maybe say prim proper show, right? And they're not letting these square bodies in, and then you have a guy like Dino who's like, I don't care, man. These guys
Yeah,
are
look
cool.
it up.
Bring
Yeah,
them
he looked-
all
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. And what happened to Viva too? They had the anti-Viva.
They have
show.
the anti-Viva,
And I don't
Rebel
wanna-
Rumble.
Yeah, it's when something gets so to a certain point, there's always like a little rebellion in it.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where our scene comes from. Like that's where the mini truck scene comes from.
Yeah.
It's
Because
always
we were never welcomed anywhere.
no hot rodders,
No hot
Yeah,
rod
well,
shows, no nothing.
yeah,
so
yeah, no, I get
that's where it's where all of everything stems from. You know what I mean? Because you grow
Oh, yeah.
together
I
and you're
mean,
like, no,
look,
we're cool.
even those guys that did the
That
you
they
know, the
were the
32,
same-
they were the rebels.
They were the rebels.
They were the
Yeah,
rebels out there, you know, saying
Yeah, the guys with the Camaros and Mustangs, the muscle cars, they were the rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the guys that were doing the street racing. You know what I mean? That da 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 da. Then they got old and grumpy, and we're gonna get old and grumpy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
It's just
gonna
it's a
solve all the
cycle
same
of
thing.
Yeah,
life.
it
It's
is,
a
it
cycle
is.
of life. You know what I mean?
You
It's
know?
like you drive down the street with your stereo really loud, and you don't care about anyone, and then you become the guy telling that guy to be quiet. 'cause- So back to Prom Queen. So
So back to even LST with me and Sean driving.
Yep.
We're going to LST, we talk, and we chopped it up for a while. It's a long,
Yeah, it's a long drive.
ride, dude. And
Yeah.
it's cruising the whole thing, and we just hit it off.
yeah,
We hit it off, and on the way back, he's like, "Hey, Oro," he says, "I'm thinking about, I don't know if he was going to fly back home, and he had the Super 74, and he says, would I drive it back, or what do I think?" I'm saying, I'm like, dude, whatever you want, dude. He goes, he had been gone for meetings with his business for a week before, and now we're gone for another week, and he said, I miss my kids and whatever, and I'm like, he goes, you're down? I'm down to drive straight through,
Yeah.
dude.
yeah.
And he goes, really? He goes, yeah. So I said, I can't drive between 1 and 4 in the morning. You cover that shift, I'll drive everything else.
Now why can't you
just-
drive that?
It's just because because I'm old, and
Yeah.
at that time,
I
the
always
body
got that
says it's
shift.
like I'm out, dude.
Well,
like
we had to do-
yeah, I just didn't want to die. Like listen, other hours from 4 in the morning, let's go. And
That was
and actually,
the-
I pushed all the way to 2 in the morning.
That was remember when we left AccuAir that time, and I took Ronnie's truck and trailer, and he drove your truck, and we came back down to your house.
Oh wow.
Because Ronnie's like, hey, Oro's not, I'm going to drive Oro, and then you drive my truck and trailer. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So we left AccuAir and drove down to your house.
So again, back to that trip, we're finishing it up, and LST is awesome. It's one of those things where like, once you're there, you're awesome. The road trip there is amazing. Bunch of buddies. You feel like you're out there, a bunch of the Goonies out there riding your dragon bikes and long distance. You're going to go somewhere where, you kind of don't know, but you're all with your group of friends. So super cool. And it's funny. It's the same guys, dude. It's C10 Talk. It's AZ Pro. Switch Suspension. Square Body Syndicate. All the other guys that kind of make it out there, Grinder yourselves. So we're all on that same row, and it's the same group of guys that are over here, only we're somewhere else,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So
Yeah.
super cool. So, but on the way back, it's a long ride home.
It is.
You're
That
like,
way
you know
back.
what,
Yeah.
You're
dude?
not
Here
as
I am
excited on the way
driving.
home. Yeah.
You're going. You've got almost every gas station. You're stopping, and just trying to get back home. You've actually got to spend the night for the most part, unless you push through. One night at least, and you're just kind of going through it. Like, man, dude, this took a lot. You know what I'm saying? A lot of days off my job. Mama's here. I could have been a better husband. I could have been a better dad. I should be this. I'm a POS, man. You know what? But come open registration, LST.
Like, let's
Here
go.
we go. So, you know, it takes a while to forget it, but that is a great show. I love that. So, again, me and Sean got along really good. He says, I want to be part of this, dude. He reached out to Metalox, and after Metalox was done with the stuff he was going to do, which was the front and rear, it went on Provost. They picked it up.
Okay.
They picked it up.
Because when I was there, they were pulling the motor. They were all the stuff. Yeah, like I said.
Oh, so this is when it, like, for you, it disappeared. Like, it was at Metalox, and
So
then it disappeared.
They picked
and
it up,
went
and
to
nobody
Provost.
needed it. So they reached out to me and said, "Hey, Oro, want to get involved with this?" Sean did. I want to get involved with this one, dude. Boom, took it off. Then as they're going through it, he goes, "Hey, man, what do you want to do here?" I go, "Well," he said, "I can reach out to these guys and see if they'll sponsor you, whatever." And you know what I'm saying? I said, "Okay, cool." I started looking for interior, and I said, "Hey, man, I think I found the interior guy." He's like, no, we want to do the interior. I'm like, well, what's my budget? So we talked about budget.
Yeah.
And man, as soon as Sean goes like, I started tapping out. I said, "Hey, dude." Oh, dude.
I've heard some stories.
Yeah. So
could get
that
a
was,
little rowdy.
no. Let me tell you, I was like, "Hey, dude, I appreciate it. It's all good, but yeah, I can't,
like the
dude.
way
I
my
just
bank
am not."
account works.
Yeah,
Right.
no, listen,
Yeah.
dude. You know, so
There's some of us in different tax brackets.
and I always say my lane, and my lane's over here, and they're okay. I don't mind. I'll catch up to you guys at the next gas station or something. But my lane is here.
Yeah.
And Sean says, "Well, you know, I really like to do whatever." I said, "Dude, this is my budget." I said, he goes, "Oro, if I do this, I want to do it my way." And I go, "Listen, you want to do it your way. This is my budget." He goes, "Can I do anything I want to it? Anything above this, it's all yours."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, "All right." And again, I said, like, so from then on, they just, between Dino and Sean and Ronnie and Johnny G and Metalox and all you guys were in a giant group text that I wasn't part of. They pretty much had carte blanche, and it was to the point where somebody would sneak, "Hey, do you think he would like Ghost Flames?" You know, they'd include me in some funky, you know, group text. I'm like, "Oh."
You're like,
but
"Oh,
I knew.
nah,
And Sean and we had talked about it because there was no funds to paint this.
Yeah.
I said, let's just wrap it, keep it cheap. Let's wrap it at the time it's in. It could be cool. You know what I'm
You
saying?
still got to do really good body work to wrap it. So you're at that point, you're just like,
Might as well paint it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw it debuted, I did not know.
and where was it debuted? Like how?
At Dino's Get Down 2020. That was the year of COVID.
COVID year?
COVID, yeah, because we still went to, that was Mask Up to Get Down.
Yeah, that was masked up to get down.
And-
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Was
you
that
know
still the water park?
No,
no,
that
no,
was
this
it.
was in Glendale.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It was
that
in Glendale. So
the second year in Glendale. Wait,
yeah, I think so. I
Was
think
it?
so.
Or
I
first
think
year?
so. No,
I
I
don't
think it
know.
was the second year because the first year I remember something happened to another truck that got hit, and so that was.
oh, you're right. You're right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. But, anyways, when they unveiled it, you know, peanut butter interior, sounds, and it was painted.
And you had never
And I
seen
loved-
anything.
I had
What was
nothing.
it? What was your like? Were you just floored? You're
Dude,
just like, oh,
yeah, I was
whoa.
like, yeah, like I said, I thought it was going to be cool. In fact, I had seen a picture that somebody had posted when it was took off. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the last time. And it had, I still had, I think, the wing window on it. And it looked kind of cool to me because that was the first time I'd seen it on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? With 22s on there.
Yeah.
And that was as cool as you're going to get to that rendering.
Yeah.
On the budget that I had. And I didn't see it until then. None sneak peek, nothing. They reached out to a lot of people, and Resto Mod Air, American
Made it
Racing,
happen,
JL Audio, Morel, just a bunch. Even the what was it, the one piece window?
Yeah.
So,
Precision.
no.
No?
This was one piece. What do they call flush fit glass?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
okay.
So none of this was in the budget. None of it was in there. I think maybe the windshield would have covered the budget. Just to let you guys know. Just to let you guys know that was and it was kind of like I don't know, but you ever get in a fight and it's just like you're watching yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time, but it's like you get that.
Oh
like,
yeah. When you get rocked. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm not saying. Whatever.
I've been rocked plenty times before.
You know, so yeah, you get into it. You do. You just feel that first one, like,
Yeah.
it's going down.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And it's like, and it's slow motion. You know what I'm
I've
saying?
had dreams like that where I'm trying to fight. And have you ever had those?
No.
You know, so that's how it was. It was like a whole for that whole.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy because it was over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It was over the top. Oro was happy with this, 5.7 drop group, but the kids like, nah, man, you gotta. So
Yeah.
they put me in their lane
They
at least for that.
future-proofed it.
Yeah. So, I was cruising it, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And one of the things I did,
You enjoy it.
Yeah, that-
for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
There is, how many miles have you put on it?
The other day somebody asked me that, and I said 21,000.
Wow.
And just yesterday, I took it on a little trip, and it had over 25,000.
Wow.
So that's
awesome.
since, because we had put in, look at this. Johnny G had installed the Dakota Digital,
Yeah.
so it went to 0
Yeah.
when we did the.
So
when we
those
did
are
that.
all.
Those-
And
Those are-
mind you, these 25,000 miles have been 2 inches off the ground the entire
Oh,
time.
absolutely, man!
I don't think I've ever
100%,
seen
dude.
that truck higher than.
Yeah.
For a guy
no.
that
Yeah.
just had a 5.7 drive, like
Yeah.
didn't like have like he like drive really much like super low stuff before
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, no, and it took me a little bit to get used to because you're all you're
yeah.
gun shy. Not a long time, but it did take me. These guys, you're learning the AccuAir 321
Yeah.
and what have you. But I
Yeah,
don't.
you drive
Some
the
people think,
hammer.
oh wait, don't take a picture with that thing level 3 coming up the driveway. Let me get that thing
Just
down.
wait a
Yeah,
minute.
they got a
Yeah,
rep
yeah.
to protect.
Don't
Just
get
wait a
caught
minute.
scared up.
Yeah. So I love to drive it. I've got a grandson that's 15, and he's my road dog lately.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He, so I've had I have 2 boys, and then this is my grandson. So one's 38, one's 28, grandson's 15. So both my boys have trucks, and then Damien's working on his, and the step grandson has a truck. So we've got that 3 generations.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then they seem to dig it. I think for my youngest one, he bought his in high school and worked his butt off to get it. And I think the day he had enough money to buy it, he quit work. I'm like, dude, why are you quitting? Don't you know? But anyways, so again, my little stories are jackrabbits.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, it's all good.
But,
So that
love to drive it.
what's the farthest trip you've taken it on? Was it Salt Lake?
Salt Lake City, 15 hours. By the time I was done with that trip, 1,598 miles. Because we did
No
little
top.
No
No
top.
top
top,
on this
dude.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't. If you're listening to this and you're not seeing what we're talking about, there is no roof on this truck.
Yes. Yeah,
This isn't like a regular truck you get in and has windshield wipers. I mean, does it have windshield wipers?
No.
All right, don't need them.
Jeez.
No roof.
Yeah.
No temporary roof, right?
No, nothing.
No,
Yeah,
nothing.
it's just a full
It's just-
convertible.
It's a full roadster.
And did you hit any rain?
Not on this trip.
Okay.
And it happened to be on summer solstice, that the longest day of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
right? Is that
right.
right?
Okay.
So that we drove up, left at 6 a.m, got there I think at 9:45.
Yeah.
The sun was still out.
Wow. Oh, was this for C10 Nationals in
Yeah.
Salt
Yes.
Lake? Oh, cool.
Which was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they were great, but but we spent a lot of time in the sun, even though you don't feel it.
That's
Dude, I came back
yeah.
looking like
What do? You just put a hat on and
I did put a hat on, and I never wear hats, but on this one, dude, yeah, I had to. In fact, I came back looking like that little Maurice from Madagascar. Just the oh, dude, I'll send you a picture, dude.
Raccoon eyes, yeah.
No, dude, yeah, it was like Cedric the Entertainer. It was just, yeah. So it's pretty bad. The thought was to the plan was to leave early when the show was on Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday. But just before Mesquite, we had a truck roll over, and it was 2 hours and 45 minutes to get 12 miles across.
Oh,
We were cooked.
Wow.
We were cooked. So pulled over, grandson, some of the other guys that rolled with us. We all just stayed in Mesquite.
Yeah.
Grabbed something to eat there. Stayed at a hotel with the pool. Hung out, made the day of it. It was cool.
heck yeah.
And that's
really
Do you
cool.
ever make fun of the guys like Biggie trailered his C10 or his K5?
I make fun of him for a lot of other reasons. But yeah, trailer is one of them.
You know what I mean?
He
Well-
says that's the prom queen. Mine's is the trailer queen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I do. But you know what? There's other times because I've had discussions with guys that like, that guy doesn't drive his. Can I say shit here?
Yeah.
You do.
So that guy doesn't drive his. Should they get it? And I said, listen, dude. We say no rules, no dues. But you live out here in the middle of
BFE.
Yeah. That guy has got more in that truck than your house. That's 180 grand plus. He's got his wife and his 2 kids. Where do you expect him to put that C10? So you got to respect that. He's hustling to get that truck. And whether he built in his garage, whether he went to school and got a degree and what have you, and now he's going to work in a corporate job and still wants to be part of us, whether he is a business owner, however.
It's all work.
It's all work.
It doesn't
dude.
matter what it is.
It's all work.
Yeah,
you know.
it's all work. It's all time. And like if you have a shop build it, it doesn't matter.
No,
you're busting your butt doing stuff.
Yeah, my buddy here, Mason, built. Dale built Nacho, was one of the first ones that he had, and then when he bought that Blazer, he wanted to do the same thing, just to next extreme level. And when I talked to him, he goes, "Hey, dude, we could kind of do this, we could do that," and he knew Dale was going to build it, but I said, "Dude, if we mess with this, it's going to take us years, right? It never come out like he could do it." I just think Dale makes it look easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And talented people usually do.
100%, dude.
Yeah, I went through that with my truck.
So I said, dude, just pad some of the jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do it here. There's other ways to do it. Work some over. That's what I would do. I would do work overtime for me.
Yeah.
But with him, because he's got his own construction company, pad some of the jobs. Do add something a little bit. If you do, like I'm saying, like, hey, if
upsell
you could do it,
something.
Yeah, upsell.
You guys want a
100%
barbecue island in the
upsell.
back too?
And he's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So he got that in beautiful K5.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. So
There has to be the will, though.
and so he did it and brought that Blazer to the next level and kind of raised the status, of those things. And that's probably one of the reasons that I stared at that truck. So I got a chance to drive K5 Larry across state line to Dino's and make its debut there.
Oh, cool.
You have to show him a picture of that.
Yeah,
K5
K5
Larry.
Just look up Devin Booker.
Okay.
Devin Booker still.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Devin Booker, and he still reps C10 Club. If you look at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, celebrities up in here now.
Yeah. So speaking of working overtime, driving to shows, all that stuff, how do you get? How does that work? Yeah, I mean,
I've been at my job for 30 years.
So you have
so I've got some seniority.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with me, it's crazy. I've got just a little over 20 some days off that I get, and I'm really good at moving that stuff around. And sometimes if I know something's coming, I'll work a little bit longer and get comp time.
Yeah.
Add that on, comp time.
And what do you do? You're a mechanic.
So yeah, that's my title, mechanic on school buses. But it's been a while since I've wrenched. You know what I'm saying? I kind of run the office and get these guys all
manage it pretty much.
Yeah, they wouldn't call it. They probably wouldn't like it because we get along so good. I've got a tight group.
Yeah,
Super
that's
cool. We're that's everybody. If they need time off, we all will move around our schedule to work up.
I'm seeing a real pattern with the way you run your life, with your family, with your work, with your club. Like, I'm just saying, like your attitude towards it all is like so. Like great,
work together.
It's a team. It's like we're all have a common goal.
Yeah, we do.
That's the only way to get things done in a good way. Because if there's infighting, if there's this, it's been a long time since I've had a regular job. But when I did, I worked at a hospital and we worked in a group of people, and we would do the same thing because we could only have one person off at one time, so we would all work together to figure out how to like make the most of that stuff. And when you do that in a group, like working like that, it makes life so much easier. And you're not trying to battle or go on behind someone's back for days off or doing this. It's like,
and it's funny because it's like you get different management. So I've been through a lot of different management, just least above me, directors. And, for the first 29 years that I was there, I'd never taken a sick day. So if you don't take a sick day, we get like 14 days a year. If you take 2 days or less, they give you 2 bonus sick days. I'm qualified for that for 29 years.
Oh, wow.
Right?
You're like, I got a lot of time.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of time right now. So, and we had a new boss come in, and she's like, hey, we put in for vacation. It's like, hey, man, we're kind of shorthanded. We got stuff we got to cover. Don't worry. No, I can't have everybody off or 2 people off. I'm like, I got sick days. So one way or the other, I'm going to LST one way or the other.
You're like, this is happening.
Yeah, so one time they denied my vacation. I'm like, well, here it goes. I guess I'm not getting that bonus days.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing. I went on a trip to Hawaii, and I only had enough vacation time accrued to where I could request. I requested the Friday off first because that's where the most popular to request off. So I got it. Then I requested the Monday, got it. So now I'm like, okay, I just need Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm set. Requested Wednesday, got it. And then Tuesday, Thursday, denied. And I go, oh, I'm going. Well, there was a group of like 10 of us, like Mike Alexander, me, Low Life Mike.
But this is happening.
There's a bunch of us going to car show over in Hawaii. I go, this is paid for. We got a condo. We've got everything. Yeah. And so I didn't tell him that. I was just like, oh, denied. Okay, cool. So I left. The next day, went to my doctor. And I was like, hey, man, I'm stressed. I was actually really stressed. It was a really terrible job. So by talking to him, it like opened up these actual emotions of how crappy it was. And he goes, you need some time off. And I was like, Hawaii is a really good place to go if you're stressed out, right? And I walked in and I said, hey, here you go. I'm taking the time off. I was like, and now I get to keep my vacation days that I got approved and use sick days.
And that's
touche.
Only because they wouldn't let one other person off and figure it out. Now you're forced.
That's your job. Your job is to manage that with whatever you have.
Exactly. And if you are a good manager, you can figure it out because then you'll be rewarded by good work. Yeah. Right? If you're a crappy manager, your workers aren't going to work good for you. They're not going to help you out when you need
And that's
help.
what we have within the shop. Within the shop, small group, I make sure I pick them, easy here, what have you. Help them when they need help, and guide them when they make some mistakes. Hey, listen, let's do it this way. This is what we're doing.
But that translates to everything. It translates to the group of guys in the clubs.
Yeah.
And it translates to...
It changes the culture. So we got a new boss above my boss. And he's all about family time. He's like, hey, we need... And he's like, Oro's got 1,100... At that time, over 1,100 hours that he could take.
Wow.
He needs to take some of that off the books. I'm like, I know. So... Now it's great because I think I use 5 days and I'll be off from December 15th to like January 8th. Nice. It's crazy. Even I saw a video the other day with some girls, how to do 22 days.
I saw that. 22
days and make them 55. I said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. So he wants us and it's great because he says family means a lot to these guys. Push it and get some time off their books, man.
Well, also that just shows an ROI. His ROI, return on investment, right? Okay. So if he invests in making you guys happy, you're going to invest in making him happy.
Yeah. Right.
So you're going to do it's like a back and forth. Yeah. And everyone complains about workers, but there's also bosses that you got to complain about too because they make it hard for people. Yeah. And if you make it easier, my wife's a manager at a grocery store. Okay. So I hear it all the time. The people above her make her job so hard. She's got control of her people. And they help each other out. And when they need time off, she's good. But then she gets it from the top. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, no, we got it. We're good.
Yeah. We'll make this happen.
Yeah. Sales are good. Everything's nothing's being cut. Nothing's we're good. We're good. But it's so stressful when you have the people from above, just looking at numbers or whatever instead of people. So again, we're a new boss above my boss. And he loves family time. He says, that's great. These guys work hard all year. Whatever. Let them take their time off with their families. So that's awesome. Oh yeah.
And you're like car shows.
Yeah. That's weird. My family lives in Texas, Georgia, Salt Lake City.
What events are you going to try to hit this next year?
Let's see. So we're kind of finishing up. So for me, Prom Queen got invited to go to SEMA.
Oh, nice.
US Mags.
All right. So you'll be inside SEMA.
Yeah. I don't think anybody knows. We haven't told nobody. So this is
might come out.
This is exclusive here.
We're not sure when this will come out. It could be right around when SEMA starts happening.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, probably.
Great. So be in the US Mags
So if
booth.
you're going to SEMA, go to the US Mags booth and check out his truck.
Check out the truck, dude.
Let's hope it makes it. Yeah. So.
It's getting some work done.
Yeah. She's getting a little nip and tuck. Yeah.
So kind of to round things out, we've kind of hit on most everything that we at least had. Where there's two things that I want to ask. Where do you see Dino's Get Down going? Because to me, it's such an interesting thing where it came from and to where it is now and how quickly it happened. Yeah. And then C10s in general. Like, are we still doing this?
When I see you guys, to be honest, when I see you guys doing this stuff, I kind of see a little future with us sooner or later. And it's funny, I think I've talked to you before, and you were the one, for sure you were the one that said it. It's like every event has a shelf life. And I thought about that after you said it. I'm like, and I brought it up to my guys because obviously I'm part of C10 Intervention up in Woodland, California, Labor Day weekend, and C10 Slowdown,
which are both amazing events.
Yeah,
by
we
the
didn't
way.
even really touch on those, but yeah.
You know, I didn't want to, like, you know, this is, you know, not an infogram or infomercial. So,
but I mean that we can touch on them now. So you're not only involved in the club, like there's events that you're involved in, which is Slowdown and Intervention. I went to Intervention before it was in Woodland.
Yeah, it was in Auburn.
It was in Auburn, and I haven't been back since, but I am going to go. And Slowdown has kind of jumped around a little bit, but do you know if it has a home where it is now?
It is. The home is going to be in Avila Beach Golf Course.
Oh,
I'm going to go next year.
We have just, you know, secured the location. They want to be part of it. In fact, the C10 Slowdown happened the first time at a park there in San Luis Obispo. That's why it's called Slow. San Luis Obispo.
Right.
C10
it took me a while to
It took us both a while. Actually, it was like a libo. Actually, I wasn't with you. I was with Milan, and we went to the after party, and we're hanging out, and I'm like, slow. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. So one of our guys that runs C10 Club Central Coast had reached out to a couple of us because of the intervention, the way it was. It's like, dude, I want to make mine like this. And he had the potential because he is right in the middle. Can't find a more beautiful spot, really.
I know. I feel I had FOMO
as far as
so
weather,
bad.
Well,
you know, you pay for it, but it's the weather's amazing.
And you get all the guys
in that time of the year
from Arizona that are just have been annihilated.
Yeah, just beat down all
especially
summer.
this year. Yeah. This year, what was it? AZ went through the highest days of 110 plus degrees in a row.
Yeah.
So when they went, these guys were out there like
They're just
little
like
skinny cats.
Yeah,
Well, no. So a couple of guys were a little
We're like,
cold.
oh, now we get
should
it.
have sold sweatshirts at that one for that. But so Paul Karp, I'll put a shout out to him.
Yep, Paul's a good dude.
Yeah, Paul's a good dude. He runs Central Coast C10 Club. You know, he's their guy there, and he had done one event at a park, and he had said, "Hey, man, how big do you want to make it big?" He goes, "As big as it can." Like C10 Intervention? Like, yeah, bigger. So I was like, all right. So he brought us on board, and we helped him do that one, which is we went out there a few times, and we got a chance to do the Madonna Inn. So the Madonna Inn.
That's what I went to. That was cool.
The Madonna Inn, super cool.
Yeah.
Big, I want to say, what they say was like 78 acres or something.
Yeah, it was huge.
They call it the Meadows so they can charge us more. But beautiful. And then the way that we did it, you know, we spaced the cars out good. You had enough for photographers to take pictures because we didn't have to be so tight. Right off the 101 freeway. You know what I'm saying? So all these guys are just looking at what's going on there. You know, Paul brought us some great ideas. Huge American flag hand off.
I remember that
a
off
huge
the
truck, which we brought back, and we'll always kind of bring that one back because that's kind of part of it. And so the hiccup we had with that is nobody anticipated it to be that big. The biggest show they had there before that was a Tesla show with 80.
A Tesla show, really?
Because they have a Tesla little charger
Supercharger.
station. They have supercharger there, and you know, Madonna Inn. So they had like 80.
80
Teslas.
And
like
you had 500.
And they had
we had
had more,
1,000.
1,000. Wow.
1,000.
plus the
Whoa.
and they had an event that night, didn't they? Didn't have wedding or something that
Well,
night.
here's what it is for me. It's they have 4 things going on. They have the Tesla charging station.
Yep.
They have the restaurant, the little small cafe.
Yep.
They have a bigger kind of ballroom.
Yep.
A bar, and then the hotel, which
So
is
they have
every room is fixed up a little different.
Yeah.
Anything you would see on the Flintstones to I Love Lucy. It's a great place.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, people go there to check it out. It's on the map for them for sure. And when we were done with that show, we let everybody out pretty much at once, and it was taking guys 3 hours to get out of
Yeah,
there.
that
Which
was
is crazy.
pretty gnarly.
The other thing we did too is we made it free for spectators and free for people to park. So our 1/3 of our parking in the corner was taken. They're taking up the same time me too.
And everybody's
People
like-
that were driving, we had tried to push it to the local news and everybody put it at whatever, as much as we could, let everybody know that it was a free event because we wanted it to be big.
Yeah.
You know, and so we had it was we weren't overwhelmed, but the parking situation was in.
It's a tough facility.
One
to
way
do
out.
that. One way
It was
one
tough.
way.
It was to the point where People were late to their own weddings.
Oh wow.
You know, I don't know. We may have saved some lives. You know what I'm saying? We may have saved some
Save
lives.
some
But
relationships.
especially when people live or they stay in the place right next to our hotels.
Yeah, yeah.
Where and then they're gonna we'll just drive under the show and take pictures, go to the wedding, Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not when it's gonna take you 2 hours with something
And-
that should take you
Well, to be fair,
5 minutes.
A
Right.
via it's a via beach, a villa,
Avila.
Avila
Beach. Avila.
Some-
Yeah, no, it's
that they have one way in, one way out, but it was a calculated deal. Well, you had to separate for spectator parking, but for show parking, but it was calculated. You guys were like, if you are not the vendors,
okay. As
you're
a
like-
way in, yeah.
if you're not here by was it 7 or 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah, 6:30
You're waiting
for
with
vendors.
everyone else, so
Yeah.
you had plenty of
Yeah.
like it was on you. So yeah, I got there early. I remember that, but
Well, you got there the day before, and
Day before,
you
but like
just-
that morning,
But that
early.
morning, if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wanted to
if
go,
you wanted to get in before
Yeah.
and didn't want to
Sure,
wait,
yeah.
you had to get in early. But it seemed to me, at least, like it was a really smooth,
it was,
as smooth
we
as
did
it
have
can
to
be.
yeah. For again, it's a one way in, so
Yeah.
it was a little tough for us, and it was a learning experience as every time you change venues,
But I think it's worth it, right? So
Oh, yeah, it was great, dude.
there's like a balance.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting in line for a long time and then you get to this like a
once
not
you're
a good
parked and you're
location.
in, it's
Yeah.
But if you're
on.
waiting for a long time and you get to this location like
And it's
that,
like so nice. Yeah.
rolling hills,
yeah.
Ocean.
views.
Yeah, ocean. You can
and
walk, and
you
Mama
could
can walk down
to
walk
the
to
beach. So,
Yeah.
and then you had the restaurant there. You had
Yeah, you had Mulligan's, absolutely.
you had all that stuff.
And
So
then
I
you
know,
had the
I
beach house,
seriously-
2-story. You missed on a great one.
I
so
know. The
I
only
hope to
that
see
it
you.
was
I
my
hope that-
that was my kid's birthday weekend.
Yeah, no,
and
bring
I
it.
was
Celebrate
all-
over here. I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
My kid's like.
I tried. I told
Yeah,
my little
yeah.
one, I was like, "Hey, you want to go to a truck
So next
show?"
year we change the date. So now it's going to be the July 27th,
That's
I believe.
right, yeah.
So it's
I'm
going to
in.
So
100%.
don't it's going to be that week of. We're working on some secret stuff, so it's going to be that weekend. But we're hopefully either trying to add a day or add something to it. So
Oh, okay.
So just keep that weekend open, the whole weekend open.
well, you just
save
keep
your
me
money
updated
now,
because
book-
I'm gonna. I should have that video done. I don't want to promise anything because I've got 2 big things before that.
You
but
got a video for the slowdown?
Slowdown.
Oh,
I,
look at that.
I was there filming.
I thought you were just having a good time. All right, and
I
that's
was doing
that's
both.
why I invited.
I
you.
was
So-
doing both.
We
Okay,
usually do
okay.
both.
I'll tell you what, filming that show was a feat.
Yeah, because you got to
That's-
go.
that's
Well, you
hills.
know what? And
Yeah.
that's, and I know because Brian wouldn't ask, but hit me up, dude. We got golf carts, guys like you.
But the problem with
Because-
here's the problem with golf carts. You have to like go get off
Yeah,
film,
yeah,
go
I
get
guess
off
you're right.
film, and walking around is nice. You get to talk to people.
Yeah,
you get
that's
to-
true.
I prefer it. Like C10 Nationals
Basically,
was
you just
different.
need one to when you get to the other end to take you back.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the that's
I
the
need
hard
like
part is having to walk all
your
the way
cell
back.
number, and I'd be like, hey, can you pick
Oh,
me up
yeah.
at the
Well,
back
bring-
nine?
Well, Angie's listening to this. My wife, Angie, definitely gonna come. She'll drive the golf cart. She'll pick us up, drop us off.
have
in
a good
different
time.
places.
And you
Get
driving the
it,
golf
and,
cart
yeah,
through all
that's-
those people.
And just a
She's
little
learning
thing,
still.
just a little thing to anybody else that throws a show. You know, how you guys do it, what have you. You guys take care of guys like these. You know, they come out, they make the show bigger. They don't some people don't realize how much, the podcast or people that even just take pictures and repost and just the YouTube channels, they help out a lot because it helps out for years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To invite the magazines out there and tell them, this is what we did last year's, whatever. Reach out to them and
It is important throwing the show to realize who helps it along.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And who's of value. And, I've been doing that for a long time. We would never charge any media that would come. Like we'd be like, hey, if you want a booth, cool. Just give us coverage.
right.
That's all.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. And it just goes a long way. It goes further than that just big, when you just get that weekend, everybody posting. And then on Monday, well, great show,
Yeah.
great show. So,
Yeah, some longevity
so,
out of it.
so
yeah.
that's how I got involved with the C10 Slowdown. And it's a great show. But the other one is going to be C10 Intervention.
Yeah.
2 days.
I've never been to
Which
that
is
one.
a different style of show, right?
Yeah, that one.
That's Woodland, California.
That's
right?
Woodland, which is just above Sacramento. Great 2-day show. Well, not really. No, it's a 1-day show, but we do a cruise where the city has allowed us to shut from East to West Street, which is a mile on Main Street,
Oh,
and we
cool.
cruise from dusk till about 9 p.m.
Very cool.
And it just anything just like they do at LST. where you get a chance to see the trucks rolling,
Mm-hmm.
much different than you laid out or whatever. And then they let us play the music. They let us
Yeah.
do our thing. Not act dumb, but just go up and down. You do 2 or 3 of those. Park your truck. Support the city. And again, that was kind of
And maybe these are destinations where you can stay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know,
No,
you
we
know,
help out that city a ton. We actually, our first one was supposed to be 2020, and they canceled on us because of COVID.
Yep.
And so Auburn, which was a little small, what is that? It's a little, what do they call those little farm, little convention centers, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Little agricultural convention
Yeah.
center.
like a state fair thing.
Yeah, it's exactly what it
Mm-hmm.
is. So we had a deposit we had never taken back, so we still had that weekend there. So we just changed the artwork, kept it there, and we still got a bunch of people. People love it.
That's cool.
And so the next year we were able to use the artwork and
Yeah.
all that. But that cruise that we added, and again, that was the brainchild of Carlos, another guy that I met on LST's been good to us, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had me as a what are they captivated audience, because on the way back we drove his car,
Oh, okay.
his truck, El Diablo, and he got my ear and telling me about what he had, this idea and what have you, and
And it came
I really didn't want to be part of it in the beginning. Not like I didn't want to. I said I'll support, but he wanted like, no, I want you to go in with me. You know, says a lot, which I'm glad I did, right? And
financial investment.
yeah, well, you know him and Tony Ortega. Tony Ortega took care of the logistics.
Yeah.
You know, the venue, the everything we needed, some vendors, insurance. He had that. Drop Lord took care of the whole website, everything, getting
Yeah.
everybody, and I sat just like a cheerleader, rah rah rah. I got to
That's
come in
cool.
like the Pied Piper,
Yeah.
the C10 Club Pied Piper, getting him these guys to come on, it's going to
Yeah.
be great, and
Yeah.
man, it was.
Well, yeah, when you have someone like you knowing that it's going to be good, because you know what events you like, you know how to have fun, you know what makes an event fun.
Yeah.
So if you have credit, basically. So if you tell someone it's going to be fun,
Right.
they'll believe you because they know you like to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good time, and like I said, it's just to bring the people together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just to bring people
That
together.
attitude that you have, like you said, you're the cheerleader. I feel like that's how I am. It's like you want to just show this stuff off. You want to
Yeah.
you want to take these rides, these people, and put them up and
Yeah,
say, check
yeah,
out how
yeah.
cool
And you
this
want
is.
and you want your friends to see how cool. Like, hey,
Exactly.
look at this.
You talked about like the cruising and how cool that is.
Yeah.
That's when I film stuff. That's my favorite thing
Yeah.
to film.
Yeah, yeah.
Is these pieces of art sitting are great, but to see them moving,
Yeah,
and
just see them
working,
cruising along.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's.
Oh,
I
just-
love showing that stuff off.
And you get some of these guys, obviously they let us cruise. So you got a couple people in the back seat just
Yeah,
chilling.
that's cool.
You know, I've seen your guys' video at the Mini Nats.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's bringing it back.
That's
and-
it right there.
Yeah,
That's what it is, because driving them
Yeah,
is just as
yeah,
Yeah.
So super fun.
just because.
Uh,
So Dino's insane.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers wise and stuff like that. This year, I think he said like 200 vendors.
Yeah. He's
Both sides of the
he's
thing.
super excited.
It's-
I talked to him. I know he just hit me up, told me he sends my little chips on the way.
Yeah.
My little what are they called?
I saw those. I
Yeah.
saw those
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
And
I think I made a comment. They'll be up on eBay, so link in the bio.
yeah, and then just C10s in general. I mean, they're still on an upswing. I think trucks in general are on an upswing. Whether
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
C10s,
yeah.
I mean, even mini trucks, like all that stuff.
Yeah, trucks are cool. Even the for the younger kids, the newer ones. But even for the longest, trucks have been it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because
for
they're
a minute.
a lot of them are already fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just utilitarian.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. So I think, I just don't see it going anywhere for
Well, it's like you bring up a
time.
good point. Like, when I was a kid, it was like the things were like 34 Fords and 32 Coupes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Well, it's because those guys, when they were young, that's what
That's what
they
they
had.
had.
That's what they had. That's what their dads had.
That's what they saw. They
And
saw.
now our generation, our dads had trucks. And they had work trucks, and we rode in them, and they took us places in them, and so we're like subconsciously building this.
It's
this
like imprinted.
emotional
It's like
attachment.
imprinted on.
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like we had a '76 Datsun that my parents bought brand new in 1976, and they put those fiberglass camper shells on it. It's not like an overhead camper or anything, but it's just like look like those old lawn chairs that I used to sit in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember riding in the back of that, and we would go to Yosemite. Every summer we went to Yosemite.
Wow.
And we would sleep in the back of that. One time a bear got up on it and shook the truck.
Jesus.
So that truck, which I regrettably sold for very cheap when I was a very not smart 18-year-old.
Done that.
And then an 83 Nissan, because my dad, we lived in Riverside and lived in Marina Valley, and he drove to LA every day for work. So he always bought little cheap trucks, heater-only mini trucks, you know. So 83 Nissan, that's what I got when I turned 16. And then a Toyota too. So like I grew up with my dad and us. He'd take me to school in these trucks. We'd go on vacation in these trucks. So that was imprinted on me essentially. So when my turn, I got a 65 Mustang. I wasn't into it. I was like, I got a truck. That was kind of what I was, and that's what everyone's doing, right?
Yeah, that's how I was. I was the same way, and I'm going to catch a bunch of flame for this, but my dad was a Ford guy. Ford F-350s, Ford F-150s.
When it comes down, when you strip away everything, though, they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're all trucks. They're all the same.
100%.
It's just a ruse. You know what I mean? It's just.
Oh, for sure.
It's the same thing how we talked about C10s. You know what I mean? Or how whatever, it doesn't matter. How C10 guys talk about Japanese trucks, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're all utilitarian. It's all the same thing.
But with the Chevy world, it is interesting. Like there's an entire economy built around the Chevy truck.
More than anything.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, how many people are employed just because of Chevy trucks in the aftermarket world? You know what I mean? With Porterbuilt and GSI and all the engine manufacturers and all the I mean, it's nonstop, and that's not like that in the Ford world. It's not like that in the Dodge world. At least the trucks. You know, it's created its own economy.
Interesting. Yeah, and the other ones are coming up too. But yeah, I do see a lot because obviously we try to invite all the vendors, but you got guys that are making, you know, solid America billet grills, like for a small niche, for a small group.
Exactly.
And obviously they're able to go out, come out to shows and events, and now with social media, just put it out there and make it.
And these trucks are making it happen. You know what I mean? It's,
They're literally the vehicle in which all this comes together.
I told Ronnie that one time. I said, Dino's the what did I call him? I forgot now. I ruined the story, but I said he's like a job creator.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what. How much money has all these people made at his event?
Yeah.
And then it goes to slow down and intervention and C10 Nationals and C10
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because of those little guys, that group of guys,
Yeah.
that forum, it's created jobs, it's created incomes, it's created an economy, it's all this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, and not just to the parts people, but to the apparel guys, which translates to the artists, which translates to the people that make the equipment for the machines. Like, it's never ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How deep you want to go into it.
CNC machines, like All-American Billet making stuff. I mean, like, yeah, there's other things that they sell for it, but Chevy Trucks has created this insane thing.
Yeah. So and it just keeps going, and it's getting bigger and better, and
It's
cool.
not going to stop.
It's awesome. Right on.
Well, we're 2 hours in.
Oh, wow. That went kind of by fast.
It just you're just like a magnet.
Cool.
We're just like sitting here listening.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's funny because we try to be ready with notes and stuff, but we always miss things. So.
Yeah, and it's the thing, you know, for me especially. I mean, I'm the worst, at least for me. That's why me and Ronnie get along so because we're like squirrel. Just like So, you know.
Ronnie's in town. We should have called him.
Oh, he is?
We should have brought him up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It seems like everyone's out here.
Right now,
everybody is.
we're just.
Hey, California's the spot, man.
Yeah. That's where you come out to vacation.
Right? Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for sitting down with us, man. Really appreciate it.
It's awesome. It's an honor.
Always great talking.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
What do you want to know?
What's the shelf life for pod? No, I don't know. I mean, you guys, I have been listening to you guys for, I don't know, I'm probably 7 pods into it. Just
cool.
A while back, you know, and I think I started reaching out to both you guys on some stuff that and I wanted to surprise you guys, Saturday and show up at the meeting. I actually signed up for a mini truck show.
Cool.
That would have been it just for me, just like, you know what I'm saying?
No, for us too.
Yeah, no, it's
because we're recording this the day after Mini Truck and
Mini Truck
Revival Showcase, and you actually signed up for it, and I
did.
I didn't know except when Victor, the guy that throws it, put up a teaser, and it was like all the trucks that registered, but insanely fast, like split second. And I went, "What?
Wait,
Something
hold on.
stood out there." And I had to like try to pause it. And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna try to surprise us. I'm not even gonna let him know I know."
I was this too. I ordered that one.
That's awesome.
And sometimes I'll order
so cool.
stuff through some of my guys. Like I'll order under Juan. Juan Massa, so John Doe.
Yeah.
You know, just try to. Some people figure it out. Said, hey, what have you. So,
Juan Masa, dude. It's amazing.
So yeah, you know, it's one of the things I kind of wanted to do. A little change of plans, not on my end, but
I was gonna say you should come out to our show in Laughlin, but I don't think you can because it's the same day as Ronnie's show, the reunion, and he was even saying that he doesn't think that you're gonna be able to make it to that, right? Or we should not
yes,
talk about
no,
it.
that's fine. Yeah, so I've got one of the grandkids, the step grandkid. He's his last year of high school, and he's in show choir, and they're big time, dude. We just went to New York, and they're like
Oh wow.
grand national champions.
Oh wow.
So now I think that weekend, although I think last week we talked, we're supposed to go to the Grand Ole Opry there.
Oh, wow.
But it got changed because the competition has moved to where it's a little more fierce. I think they said Orlando. So that I may still make it. I would never miss one of Ronnie's or one of Dino's.
I know when he announced his show, I went.
But I hit him up. Yeah. Oh, it's the same.
It's the same weekend as our show in Laughlin, the Forbidden Show, and I'm like, I was like, Ronnie, what up? And he goes, I was like, he's dealing with the city, so the city can only have. There's only so many dates they're allowed. It's what it is. But I was like
crazy.
bummed. You know what I mean? I'm like,
same thing happened with some of our shows. They had to move.
But it goes back again to that. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing.
It's
that
a good
there's
thing
all
that
of these
we're-
shows
We got
going
choices.
on. Yeah.
Choices.
We have choices, and you can go to. There's so many. There's C10s part shows. There's just shows everywhere, and it's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
Get the
coming.
word out.
Thank you for the gifts.
Yeah, and we will.
Yeah, no, they're honorary members. There you go.
That's
no
all.
matter
Heck
what.
yeah, dude.
So
Heck yeah. You said put this in my square body C10. I want to put this in my Forerunner.
That would be cool.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yes.
I think the last thing I kind of always want to say is like, listen, they call me El Presidente. That's a term of endearment. I don't consider myself at the top. I always consider myself at the bottom, trying to juggle all these guys
That's
together
cool.
and give them advice. Like, listen, I've been through this. Wait it out. Let the guy cool off. Let whatever. If he's not part of you, he's gonna know. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna know. I mean, because if you confront, you do that, it's just gonna ruin another relationship. And they'll see it. You know what I'm saying? And again, he knows. Everybody knows what they got into. It's a family-friendly event.
It's also hard to take advice too on that side of things. So if someone's ever giving you advice, you can do your own thing with that advice, but just know that they usually have been through it. So
So
listen. You know what I mean?
So but
definitely.
I've got guys too that I bounce stuff off of, that I respect. So that's what I'm here. And if you want to be part of it, just reach out to us. Reach out to any guy that's got a C10 Club sticker, and those are no charge. We just love to see more people get in this group.
Yeah.
And whether you're part of a club, not part of a club, whether you just
Or if you have questions about C10s in general.
Yeah.
Or
reach
if you want to go to a C10 show, go to Intervention, Slow Down. Those are the
get
two.
down.
The Get Down, anything.
You'll find guys at any C10 event that roll with the C10 Club, and you're welcome to roll with us. Please walk up to them, say, "Hey, man, I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you dig it, come out for the day, hang out." So it's great way to get fed and free.
This is true.
That's true.
Yeah.
If anything,
Yeah.
use them for the food.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you
All right,
guys
well, cool.
again. Appreciate
awesome,
it.
man. Thank you. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Later.
Later.